Her lipstick stained his coffee mug left on my desk like a taunt. It wasn't just the mark that gutted me. It was knowing they thought I'd never notice. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe to Revenge Forge for more unforgettable stories that speak to the heart. My name's Brian Kendricks, 47, a senior account director at a marketing firm in Austin, Texas. Life was a well-oiled machine. A $680,000 house in Westlake Hills, a stock portfolio sitting at $950,000, and a marriage that felt like a cold IPA on a hot day. Melanie, my wife, was 39, a creative strategist at the same firm with a smile that could sell a campaign and eyes that made deadlines vanish. We'd been married 12 years. No kids, just a golden retriever named Tucker, and a shared love for Longhorn games. We'd tailgate at Darrell K. Royal, her cheering louder than me stealing her nachos. Solid right work was my turf. I'd spent 16 years managing $15 million client accounts. The firm pulled $90 million in revenue last year, enough to keep me at $140,000 plus bonuses. My colleague Clayton Frey was the creative director, 49, a charmer with a Stetson and a pitch that landed Fortune 500s. We bonded over bourbon and client wins, him pulling me into big campaigns, me keeping his ideas grounded. He'd been at my wedding, toasted Melanie and me, called us the dream team. I trusted him like a brother. Melanie joined the firm 7 years ago, her branding skills boosting our campaigns. Clayton mentored her, same as me, teaching her to navigate client egos. We'd all hit happy hour at the Driscoll, Clayton spinning tales, Melanie laughing but sharp. I'd watch them, proud of our crew, thinking we were bulletproof. I was a damn fool. It started subtle. Melanie's late nights at the office client decks, she said, her phone pinging past 9 p.m. I'd text home soon, she'd reply, "Swamped, love you," with a wink emoji. Clayton was busier too, skipping our usual post-work drinks, citing big pitches. I shrugged it off. I'm Brian Kendricks, I fix campaigns, not chase ghosts. Then the signs stacked up. Melanie swapped her citrus perfume for something bolder, amber heavy. She'd come home at 10 p.m., her blouse slightly unbuttoned, her earrings new pearl studs I hadn't bought. Client gift, she said, brushing past me to the shower. Tucker would whine, sensing my unease. One night I checked her purse for her keys, routine stuff. Found a bar receipt. The Driscoll, 11 p.m., 2 martinis, Clayton's name on the tab. My gut twisted. A work thing, maybe. I tucked it back, said nothing. I'm not the jealous type. I trust schedules, budgets, results. But doubt's a slow venom. Last month I got home early from a client trip in Dallas, 7 p.m., expecting Melanie's brisket. The house was dark, Tucker alone. Her phone's location, shared for emergencies, was at the Driscoll, not the office. I called, voicemail. Texted Clayton casual, "You guys still working?" His reply, "Wrapped at 5, home now." My chest burned. He was lying. The next morning I crossed a line. While Melanie was in the shower, I grabbed her phone from the counter. Her lock screen was us at a Longhorn game, grinning. Passcode our anniversary, 0610. I checked her texts. A thread with Clayton, 10 p.m. last night. "You left your mug in my office, I'll grab it." My hand shook. A mug at the Driscoll. I scrolled up. Messages months old, playful then intimate. "Can't wait for Thursday," she'd written. His reply, "Where the pearls?" I put the phone down, my breath shallow as the shower stopped. Melanie walked in, towel-wrapped, humming. "You're quiet," she said, smiling. I forced a grin. "Long trip." She kissed my cheek, her amber scent hitting me like a brick. I went to work, my mind a storm. Clayton was in his office laughing on a call, his mug black monogrammed on his desk. Melanie was at her desk typing, her pearl studs glinting. I wanted to slam his door, demand the truth, watch them squirm. But I'm not that guy. I'm the one who plans, who strikes when the iron's hot. I started digging. Clayton's client dinners were vague. No receipts, no notes. Melanie's calendar synced with his late meetings, off-site briefings. I called our IT guy, Nate Harper, a buddy from my early days. "Can you pull login logs?" I asked, voice low. He hesitated. "Risky, Brian." "But yeah, 24 hours. I nodded, my jaw tight, and went back to my desk, smiling through client calls, playing the part. Nate's report was a knife. Clayton and Melanie had a private chat app, encrypted, linked to company servers. Dozens of messages, late nights, some from hotel Wi-Fi. I cross-checked timestamps. Last week they'd logged in from the Driscoll at 10 p.m. My wife, my colleague, in a hotel room while I grilled steaks at home, clueless. Tucker's whine echoed in my head louder now. I didn't confront them. Anger burns fast. Revenge burns slow. I hired a private investigator, Tara Vaughn, a sharp ex-cop with a no-nonsense vibe. I need evidence, I told her, handing over $4,000. Office affair, maybe more. She nodded. 10 days, you'll know. I went back to the firm, nodded at Clayton's banter, reviewed Melanie's campaign plans. They thought I was blind. They were wrong. Tara was quick. By day 4, she had photos. Clayton and Melanie leaving a client lunch, his hand on her back, her smile too intimate. Another shot them in the Driscoll's bar, her arm looped through his smirk smug. The clincher, a text exchange, Clayton to Melanie. Your lipstick's on my mug. Leave it. I stared at the images, my coffee cold. 16 years at this firm, 12 with Melanie all crumbling in a glossy print. I could have stormed Clayton's office, thrown the photos down, watched him stutter, or waited for Melanie at home, the receipt in my hand, her lies exposed. But that's what they'd expect, shouts, tears, chaos. I wanted more. I wanted them to feel the ground vanish the way mine had. So I dug deeper. Tara's next report was a bombshell. Clayton wasn't just cheating, he was undermining campaigns. He'd been leaking client strategies to a rival firm, padding his bonuses with $120,000 in kickbacks. Melanie's creative decks, flawless on paper, hid the sabotaged data. I met my lawyer, Paul Brennan, at a taco joint in East Austin. Can we nail them? I asked, sliding Tara's files over. Paul's eyes gleamed. Fraud, breach of contract, serious. But we need bank records, timestamps. I nodded. I'll get them. Back at the office, I worked late, pulling financial logs with my director access. Clayton was sloppy, used his work email for rival contacts, thinking no one check. Melanie was smarter, tweaking data through proxies, but not smart enough. Melanie sensed the shift. That night, she leaned against the kitchen island, her arms crossed. You're off, Brian. What's wrong? Her eyes were soft, almost pleading. I nearly laughed. Just work, I said, grabbing a beer. Clayton's piling it on. Her face flickered. Guilt, maybe. He's stressed, she said, stepping closer. Talk to him. I looked at her, the woman I'd loved for over a decade, and saw a liar. Maybe, I said, turning away. She didn't push, but her silence was loud, like she felt the storm brewing. The first twist hit Friday morning. Tara called at 6 a.m., her voice sharp. Check your email. I opened my laptop, still in boxers. A video clip, grainy, from a parking garage. Melanie and Clayton arguing. He grabbed her wrist. She yanked free, her voice low. You said no one'd find out, she hissed. My blood froze. Melanie wasn't just sleeping with Clayton. She was neck deep in his fraud, and now they were cracking. I leaned back, the room tilting. Clayton's betrayal was bad, my colleague, my friend, stealing my wife and my work. But Melanie, that cut to the bone. I thought of our Longhorn games, her laugh, Tucker curled beside us. All fake. I poured a coffee, my hand steady now. This wasn't just an affair. It was a heist, and I was the mark. I had the photos, the video, the bank records. I had a revenge story taking shape, and Clayton and Melanie were about to learn what happens when you cross Brian Kendricks. Friday. Clayton called a team meeting, 7 p.m. urgent. I sat across from him, my notes blank, my eyes locked on his. Melanie was there, typing, her pearl studs catching the light. They thought they were safe, untouchable. I smiled, nodded, played the account director. But inside, I was rewriting their story. Tara was tailing them. Nate was digging deeper, and Paul was building a case. The trap was set. This wasn't about shouting or fists. It was about outsmarting them, dismantling their lies, piece by piece. I left the meeting early, claiming a call. Clayton barely noticed, too busy pontificating. Melanie glanced at me, her brow creased. I met her eyes, held them, then walked out. Austin's lights glittered through the office windows, sharp and cold. I drove home. Tucker greeting me with a wagging tail. I scratched his ears, poured a bourbon, and opened my laptop. Tara's latest file waited, texts from Melanie to Clayton. Brian's acting weird. Watch him. I smiled, my glass heavy. They thought they'd played me. They were about to learn what happens when you underestimate Brian Kendricks. Austin's sunset burned crimson the skyline, a jagged blade against my office window. I sat at my desk. Tucker's leash coiled on the chair, my laptop open to Tara's latest file, bank transfers. $120,000 funneled through fake campaign invoices. Clayton Frey's email on every transaction, Melanie's creative decks concealing the theft. My colleague and my wife weren't just cheating, they were bleeding the firm dry. Their bar receipts mocked my 12-year marriage, their lies a gut punch to my 16 years at the company. I gripped my bourbon cold now and planned. This revenge story wasn't about smashing mugs. It was about dismantling their world piece by calculated piece. Monday hit like a Texas storm. I strode into the firm, my boots steady, my face a steel mask. Clayton was in his office pitching a client, his Stetson tipped back. Melanie was at her desk, her pearl studs glinting, her fingers dancing over her keyboard. She glanced up, her smile quick fake. I nodded, my jaw tight, and kept moving. The office buzzed, creative, sketching, phones ringing, but to me it was a chessboard and I was 3 moves ahead. I buried myself in a $10 million client campaign, but my real work was hunting. Tara's photos, Clayton and Melanie at the Driscoll, her arm in his, seared my mind. Nate's logs showed their chat app, encrypted but sloppy. Clayton had sent Melanie a campaign brief inflating costs by $150,000, profits routed to a shell called Lone Star Media. I cross-checked with our finance portal using my director access. Lone Star was a phantom, no office, just a mailbox in Houston. Their fingerprints were everywhere. I called Tara at noon, meeting her at a dive bar off 6th Street. Her boots were scuffed, her coffee untouched. "What's next?" I asked, sliding into the booth. She pushed a folder over. "Clayton's meeting a guy tonight. Derek Holt, VP at a rival firm, Pinnacle Brands. Lounge 9 p.m. My source says it's about your client's strategies." My blood surged. Pinnacle was a $110 million player circling our accounts. Clayton wasn't just skimming, he was selling my work to bury us. "Get me eyes," I said, voice low. Tara nodded. "Cam's ready, visual only keeps it legal." I handed her $3,500 cash. "Make it fast." Back at the office, I played the part, nodding at Clayton's emails, approving Melanie's decks. But I watched them. Clayton left at 7 p.m., his briefcase stuffed. Melanie stayed, her desk lamp glowing in the darkening office. I lingered, tweaking a pitch. At 8 p.m., she grabbed her coat and left. I followed. Tailing Melanie was clean. Austin's grid was my map, her BMW a beacon. She pulled into the lounge's lot where Clayton's Cadillac sat. I parked a block away. Tara's text pinging, "Cam's live. Check it." I opened her feed, a dim angle from a high-top table. Clayton and Derek ties, loose whiskey glasses, sweating. Melanie slid in her hand, grazing Clayton's. Derek passed a flash drive. Clayton pocketed it, grinning. My strategies, my blood traded like poker chips. I gripped the wheel, my knuckles white. This wasn't just an affair, it was a corporate hit. I drove home, Tucker's tail thumping as I walked in. I poured a bourbon, opened my laptop, and dug into Lone Star Media. Nate had cracked Clayton's email server. The messages were brazen, Clayton boasting to Derek about clean profits, Melanie tweaking data to hide the theft. One email sent last week, cut deep. "Kendricks is a workhorse. He'll never suspect." Melanie's reply, "Keep him busy. I've got this." I leaned back, the bourbon sharp. Melanie wasn't just complicit, she was driving. My wife, who'd cheered with me at Longhorn games, was orchestrating my ruin. I called Paul, my lawyer, at 10 p.m. "I've got more," I said, emailing the files. "Fraud, espionage. Can we move?" Paul's voice was steady. "It's strong, Brian, but we need bank records. If Clayton's got bored allies, you're exposed." I nodded, my mind racing. Then, we go bigger. Tuesday, I escalated. I asked Nate to flag Clayton's laptop for maintenance, giving me remote access. By lunch, I had his cloud drive, client strategies, my campaign blueprints, a pitch to Pinnacle for $600,000. Melanie's data tweaks were in the margins, her handwriting precise. I copied it all, my pulse even. Clayton thought he was king. I was about to dethrone him. Melanie felt the shift. That night, she cornered me in the garage, her arms crossed, her amber perfume heavy. "You're distant, Brian. What's going on?" Her voice was soft, almost desperate. I wanted to laugh. "Work's brutal," I said, grabbing a socket wrench. "Clayton's screwing us." Her eyes flickered, fear maybe. "He's under pressure," she said, stepping closer. "Talk to him." I looked at her, my wife, my betrayer, and said, "I will." She nodded, relieved, and went inside. I stayed, the wrench cold, my plan sharpening. The first twist hit Wednesday morning. Tara called at 5 a.m., her voice urgent. Check your email. I opened my laptop, still in sweatpants. A photo time-stamped last night. Melanie leaving a consulting firm downtown, not with Clayton. The man beside her was older, mid-50s, gray suit, sharp jaw. Tara's note. His name's Victor Lane, broker for Pinnacle. She's double-dealing. My pulse spiked. Melanie wasn't just Clayton's partner, she was playing him, cutting a side deal with Pinnacle's fixer. I spent the day off balance. At the office, Clayton was all charisma, sealing a $4 million campaign. Melanie ran a strategy briefing, her voice smooth, her pearl studs gleaming. I watched from the back, my mind churning. If Melanie was working with Victor, she wasn't just stealing, she was aiming for a bigger prize, maybe Pinnacle's payroll. I called Tara. What's her endgame, I asked. Control, Tara said. Pinnacle's dangling a director role if she delivers your firm's accounts. Clayton's her patsy. I nodded, my jaw tight. Melanie wasn't a pawn. She was the board. That night I tailed her. She said she had a vendor meeting. I followed my truck, a shadow in Austin's glow. She drove to a private club, not an office. I parked across the street, watching her walk in her briefcase swinging. 30 minutes later, she emerged with a woman's 60s sharp blazer, commanding vibe. I snapped photos, sent them to Tara. Her reply, Lydia Pierce, corporate attorney, handles mergers. My stomach sank. Melanie wasn't just selling strategies, she was helping Pinnacle gut our firm. The second twist came Thursday. Nate burst into my office, his face pale. You're screwed, man. He showed me a server log, my login timestamped last week, uploading campaign data to an external drive. I didn't do this, I said, my voice hollow. Nate nodded, nervous. Someone used your credentials. Looks airtight. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. Melanie. She'd framed me, setting me up as the fall guy if her plan crashed. If our CEO Karen Walsh saw this, I was fired, maybe sued. I called Paul, sent the logs. Can you fight it? I asked. He sighed. It's bad, Brian. Your IP, your access. We need proof, it's a setup fast. I hung up my hands, shaking. The office felt like a cage, every coworker's glance a judgment. I grabbed my laptop and bolted, driving to Tara's office, a hole in the wall above a taqueria. Find her, I said, pacing. Melanie's behind this. Tara didn't blink. She's meeting Victor tomorrow, hotel bar. I'll get you footage. Friday I played normal. Clayton called a team huddle, praising my campaign work, the work he'd sold. Melanie handed out timelines, her smile flawless. I nodded, my face blank, my anger a live wire. After work I followed Tara's lead to the hotel bar, a sleek spot in downtown Austin. Melanie's BMW was parked, Victor's Tesla beside it. I stayed back, Tara's hidden cam streaming to my phone. They were at a corner table, voices low, exchanging folders. Victor slid her a key, safe deposit maybe. She nodded, her face cold, and left. I tailed her to a bank where she hit a 24-hour ATM. Tara's tracker confirmed its safe deposit box accessed at 11 p.m. I didn't know what she'd stashed, cash, contracts, proof, but it was her leverage. Back home, Tucker greeted me, his warmth grounding me. I poured a bourbon, opened my laptop, and got Nate's latest, a deleted email from Melanie to Lydia Pierce outlining a merger plan. Pinnacle wanted our firm's clients, patents, everything. Melanie's price, $800,000 and a corner office. Saturday, I got an anonymous text. Check your office, bottom drawer. No sender, but Melanie's cadence was clear. I drove to the firm, the building empty, my steps echoing. In my drawer, an unmarked flash drive. I plugged it in, my pulse racing. A forged email, my name offering Pinnacle my strategies for $200,000. Melanie's final play, frame me, ruin me, walk away clean. I copied it, sent it to Paul, and called Tara. She's pinning it on me, I said. Tara's voice was steady. Then we pin her first. Sunday I met Karen Walsh at a coffee shop near Zilker Park, away from eyes. You need to see this, I said, handing her a USB drive, Clayton's transfers. Melanie's emails, the forged email. I didn't mention the frame job yet. Keep it quiet, I said. Karen's eyes narrowed. If this is real, they're done. I drove home, the Austin skyline fading in my rear view. The trap was tightening, but Melanie was sharp, Victor a shadow. I needed more. Monday. Karen called Clayton to her office. He walked out, his face ashen, his Stetson limp. Melanie was next, her heels clicking, her expression blank. I watched from my desk, my heart steady. At 4 p.m., Karen emailed the leadership security audit tomorrow. All access frozen. Clayton's office was cleared by 6 p.m. security hauling him out. Melanie kept working her desk untouched, but her eyes flicked to me just once. I held her gaze, my victory silent. That night, Melanie came home late, her coat soaked. "We need to talk," she said, her voice trembling. I followed her to the living room, Tucker watching. "I know you're behind this," she said, her eyes blazing. "The audit, Clayton's exit. It's you." I leaned back, my voice ice. "You framed me, Melanie. Sold my work, betrayed the firm. Why?" Her face cracked just for a second. "Clayton forced me," she whispered. "He had leveraged debts my past. I had to." I laughed, sharp and cold. "You chose Pinnacle." She looked away, her hands shaking. "I'm sorry, Brian. Let me fix it." I stood towering over her. "You don't fix this." She grabbed her purse and left the door slamming. Tucker whimpered. I didn't move. Tara called at midnight. "Melanie's at a motel alone. Victor's in the wind, no trace." I nodded, my mind clear. Melanie wasn't just running from me. She was running from Pinnacle, from Clayton, from her lies. But I wasn't done. This revenge stories chapter had one more move, and I was playing to win. I sat in my study, Austin's lights pulsing, and planned. Clayton was down, but Melanie was slippery, Victor a ghost. The audit would expose them, but I needed proof to clear my name, to lock them in their own trap. I opened my laptop, Nate's final file waiting a back door in Melanie's cloud. Her last email to Victor, Brian's close. "Move the deal now." I smiled, my bourbon warm. They thought they'd outsmarted me. They were about to learn what happens when you cross Brian Kendrick's. Austin's dawn was a smoldering haze rain streaking the skyline beyond my office window. I sat at my desk, Tucker's leash slung over the chair, my laptop open to Nate's latest find. Melanie's email to Victor Lane sent at 2 a.m. "Kendrick's is too close. Finalize the assets now." She'd framed me as the traitor, forged my name on a deal to sell my campaign strategies, and planned to vanish with Pinnacle Brand's payout. Clayton Frey was out, hauled off by security, his fraud exposed. But Melanie was a phantom dodging the audit's net, her motel hideout a dead end. This wasn't over. I was Brian Kendrick's, and I carved my wins with precision, not rage. Tuesday morning, I walked into the firm, my boots steady on the polished floor. Karen Walsh, our CEO, nodded as I passed, her eyes sharp with the trust I was still earning. The security audit was a guillotine, servers locked, emails frozen, auditors tearing through records. The forged email pinning me as the leak was a loaded gun to my head. If Karen saw it, I'd lose everything: job, reputation, maybe freedom. I needed to clear my name and shatter Melanie's lies before she could slip away. I called Tara Vaughn, my PI, at 7 a.m., meeting her at a coffee shop off South Congress. Her jacket was worn, her coffee black. "Melanie's moving," she said, sliding a photo across the table. Melanie at a train station, her BMW gone, a duffel slung over her shoulder. "Victor's still in Austin, holed up in a condo. My source says he's pushing her to deliver your client data." My jaw clenched. "What's in her safe deposit box?" Tara leaned back. "Contracts, maybe cash, possibly dirt. She's not running light." I handed her $4,000 cash. "Get me inside that box." She nodded. 48 hours tops. I drove back to the office, the Colorado River a steel sheet in my rear view. Melanie wasn't just betraying me, she was outplaying Pinnacle, Clayton, everyone. I had to strike faster. At work, the air crackled. Clayton's office was a ghost, his Stetson gone. Melanie's desk sat empty, her sick leave a scream. I watched the team, their glances heavy, and dove into a $12 million campaign, playing the account director. But my real work was with Nate. Nate met me in the server room at lunch, the machines hum, cloaking our words. "I traced the forgery," he said, eyes darting. "Melanie used your login, but it came from a bar's Wi-Fi last month. Her laptop's tagged." My pulse surged. "Can you prove it's her?" He nodded. "IP's linked to her personal device. Logs sent to Paul." I gripped his shoulder. "You're gold, Nate." He shrugged, uneasy. "She's desperate, Brian. Watch your back." Paul, my lawyer, called at 3 p.m. "The logs are a slam dunk," he said, voice alive. "They clear you forgery, fraud, all Melanie. But the box is critical. If she's got Pinnacle's contracts, it's federal." I hung up, my hands steady. The audit was closing in, but Melanie was a shadow, Victor a wild card. I needed to cut their threads. The first twist hit that night. Tara texted at 10 p.m. Victor's flipping, meeting Pinnacle's CEO, 11 p.m. private club. Melanie's out. My stomach twisted. Victor Lane, Pinnacle's broker, was ditching her, selling her out to save himself. I called Tara. Is Melanie spooked? Her voice was sharp, big time. She hit the safe deposit box at 8 p.m., pulled a drive. I gripped my phone, rain hammering outside. Melanie was cornered, but cornered wolves bite hardest. Wednesday, I shadowed her myself. Nate tipped me off Melanie's laptop, pinged at a co-working space in East Austin. I tailed her my truck, blending into the city's dusk. She drove to a law firm, not a client's office. I parked across the street, Tara's binoculars steady. Melanie met a man, 50s pinstripe suit, hard eyes. They talked for 15 minutes, Melanie passing an envelope. I snapped photos, sent them to Tara. Her reply, Miles Carver, Pinnacle's legal counsel. She's negotiating a payout. My chest tightened. Melanie wasn't running, she was cashing out, selling my firm's future to Pinnacle's sharks. The second twist landed Thursday morning. Nate rushed into my office, his face white. You're in deep, man. He pulled up an internal alert sent to the board, time-stamped last night. It flagged my login for leaking client data, citing the forged email. It's not Karen, Nate said. Melanie's pushing it through a board ally. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. She'd weaponized her frame job, trying to sink me before the audit nailed her. If the board bought it, I was done. I called Paul, forwarded the alert. Can you stop this? I asked. He exhaled. It's ugly, Brian. The logs clear you, but the board's rattled. We need the box, hard proof now. I hung up the office, suffocating. Every co-worker's glance felt like a knife. I grabbed my laptop and drove to Tara's office, a dive above a bodega. Where's Melanie? I demanded, pacing. Tara leaned back. Motel, but she's mobile. I've got a guy on the box, bank opens at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Thursday night, Melanie came home, her eyes red, her amber perfume gone. Brian, we need to talk, she said, her voice breaking. I followed her to the kitchen, Tucker watching from his bed. I know you're doing this, she said, her hands trembling. The audit, Clayton, it's you. I leaned against the counter, my voice ice. You framed me, Melanie. Stole my work, sold the firm. Why, her face crumpled. Clayton forced me, she whispered. He had dirt old debts, I had no choice. I laughed cold and sharp. You chose Pinnacle. She flinched, tears falling. I'm sorry, Brian, let me make it right. I towered over her. You're out of moves. She grabbed her keys and bolted the door, slamming. Tucker whined. I didn't chase her. Tara called at 1 a.m. Melanie's at a new motel alone. Victor's with Pinnacle, cutting a deal. I nodded, my mind clear. Melanie wasn't just fleeing me, she was fleeing Pinnacle, Clayton, her lies. But I was closing in. The third twist hit Friday morning. Tara delivered, meeting me at the coffee shop, a flash drive in hand. Safe deposit box, client contracts, $150,000 in bonds, a burner phone. Texts to Miles Carver, locking a $900,000 deal. My pulse raced. Melanie's endgame, sell our strategies, pocket the cash, vanish. I sent the drive to Paul, who forwarded it to Karen. This is federal, he said. FBI's on it. Stay low. I didn't. I drove to the office where Karen called an emergency board meeting. Melanie was there, her face pale, her pearl studs missing. Clayton's absence was a void, his fraud laid bare. Karen dropped the bomb. We've uncovered fraud, data theft, campaign sabotage. She didn't name Melanie, but her eyes flicked to her. The board voted to suspend her pending investigation. Security escorted her out, her briefcase seized. She didn't look at me, but I felt her weight heavy and final. The fourth twist came that afternoon. Paul called, his voice tense. Melanie left a package at the firm for you. Karen opened it. I sped over my truck, roaring through Austin's streets. In Karen's office, a letter handwritten from Melanie. Brian, I framed you to stop Clayton. He was the leak, not me. I tried to save the firm. Attached was a USB drive, emails dated 2 years ago. Melanie warning Karen about Clayton's cost inflations. Karen hadn't acted. Was it true? Or another lie? I leaned back, the office still. Melanie's letter didn't erase her crimes, the forged email, the Pinnacle deal, the affair. But it cracked something. I'd cast her as the villain, but maybe she'd been trapped playing a game she couldn't escape. Karen watched me. You're cleared, she said, and creative director is yours. I nodded, but my heart wasn't in it. I need time, I said. She didn't push. Melanie disappeared. Tara tracked her to an airport, then nothing. The feds had her contracts, bonds, burner phone. Charges were coming, fraud, conspiracy, maybe more. Clayton was cooperating, spilling everything to dodge jail. Pinnacle Brands was crumbling, their merger bid dead, their stock tanking. The firm stabilized my strategies, secure my name clean. I sold the house, moved to a condo in downtown Austin, just me and Tucker. The memories were too heavy, Melanie's nachos, our Longhorn tailgates, Tucker's tail thumping. I took the director role, but it felt like a suit that didn't fit. I kept managing, kept building, but trust was a stranger. One night I got an email, no sender. I tried to protect us. Melanie's voice sharp as glass. I deleted it, poured a bourbon, and stepped onto my balcony. The Colorado River shimmered, the city lights soft. I thought of her letter, her warning, her betrayal. Had she fought for the firm or for herself? I thought of Clayton, broken his charm dust. And I thought of me, Brian Kendricks, the man who'd faced a conspiracy and stood tall. The fifth twist came a month later. Tara dropped by, her blazer swapped for jeans. One last thing she said, handing me a flash drive. Found it in Melanie's motel, hidden in a vent. I plugged it in, my pulse steady. A recording, lo-fi, dated a year ago. Melanie in our kitchen talking to Clayton, her voice low. "We can't do this, Clay. Brian's too good. He'll know." Clayton laughed. "He's nobody." The audio cut off, but the truth landed hard. Melanie had hesitated, maybe even tried to stop it before she fell too deep. I leaned back, Tucker's head on my knee. The recording didn't change her lies, her frame job, her affair, but it shifted the ground. I'd won, saved the firm, cleared my name, rebuilt. But at what cost? The man who'd loved Melanie, who'd trusted Clayton, was gone. I raised my glass to the night, to the scars that made me. What would you have done? Forgiven her, let her fade, or fought to the end? Tell me, because I'm still asking myself. Did I reclaim my life or just survive it? You decide. Like what you heard, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Revenge Forge, because the next story might just be your favorite one yet. My wife betrayed me with my best friend in Seattle. My revenge exposed their lies. I caught her laughing about me on a call with her friend. That laugh ended our future. If this story moves you, don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe to Revenge Forge for more unforgettable stories that speak to the heart. My name is Adam Wexler. I'm 48, a senior project manager at a mid-sized software firm in Seattle. Life was good. Not billionaire good, but solid. A 7-figure, $401K, a waterfront condo, and a marriage that for 12 years felt like a warm fire on a rainy Washington night. Tara, my wife, was the spark. At 37, she was a rising star in HR at my company, sharp as a tack, with a smile that could disarm a boardroom. We met at a tech conference, bonded over bad coffee and worse PowerPoint slides, and built a life together. No kids, just us, a couple of rescue dogs, and a shared dream of retiring early to sail the Puget Sound. Work was my other anchor. I'd spent 15 years climbing the ladder at a firm that built inventory management software, think less flashy than Google, more practical than Microsoft. Annual revenue was around $80 million, enough to keep the lights on and pay me a comfortable $220,000 a year plus bonuses. My best friend Gavin Hatcher was my partner in crime. At 49, he was the company's lead sales director, a silver-tongued charmer who could sell ice to a glacier. We'd known each other since college at UW, where we bonded over late-night coding sessions and cheap beer. Gavin was the guy who'd drag me to karaoke bars, then laugh when I butchered Springsteen. I trusted him with my life. Our company was tight-knit, maybe 200 employees with a culture that felt like family. Tara joined 5 years ago, fresh from a smaller firm, and quickly became the go-to for resolving conflicts or boosting morale. She had a knack for reading people, which made her perfect for HR. Gavin and I mentored her early on, introducing her to the team, showing her the ropes. Watching her thrive made me proud. We'd come home, crack open a bottle of wine, and talk shop, her latest mediation, my latest project deadline, Gavin's latest sales win. Life felt balanced, complete. Then the cracks started showing. It was subtle at first. Tara started working late, just catching up on performance reviews. She'd say, her voice light, but her eyes avoiding mine. She'd always been a night owl, so I didn't think much of it. But the late nights stretched into weeks. She'd come home after 10 p.m., her perfume faintly different, sharper, like citrus and cedar. I'd ask how her day was, and she'd give me a quick smile, then head to the shower. Our dogs Milo and Luna would follow her, but even they seemed confused, whining at the bathroom door. I'm not a paranoid guy. I don't snoop. But one night I couldn't sleep. Tara was still at the office, or so she said. I checked her location on our shared app habit from when we'd coordinate dinner plans. Her phone was at a bar downtown, not the office. My stomach twisted. I told myself it was a team happy hour. No big deal. But when she got home at midnight smelling like gin and that unfamiliar perfume, she didn't mention any bar. Just kissed my cheek and said, "Long day." The next morning I did something I'd never done. I checked her phone while she was in the shower. Just a glance, I told myself. Her lock screen was a photo of us at Mount Rainier smiling under a gray sky. I swiped, entered her passcode, our anniversary 0412, and opened her messages. Nothing obvious. Work chats, a thread with her sister, a meme from a friend. Then I saw a text from Gavin sent at 11:47 p.m. last night. You left your scarf in my car. Want me to bring it tomorrow? My chest tightened. A scarf in his car, I scrolled up. The thread was short, mostly work stuff, but one message from a week ago stood out. Meet me at the usual spot, 8 p.m. No reply from Tara, but the timestamp showed she'd read it. I put the phone down, my hands shaking. The shower stopped. I heard Tara humming, oblivious. I wanted to storm and demand answers, but something held me back. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was pride. I'm a problem solver, not a yeller. So I went to work, smiled through meetings, and started watching. Gavin was his usual self that day, slapping my back, cracking jokes about a client's outdated server. You good, Wexler? He asked, leaning against my desk. His grin was wide, but his eyes darted to my phone like he was checking for something. Yeah, I said, forcing a nod. Just swamped. Tara was in a meeting across the hall, her laugh echoing through the glass door. I watched her, my wife, my partner, and wondered if I was losing her. Over the next week, I became a detective in my own life. I noticed things I'd ignored before. Tara's new earrings, delicate gold hoops I hadn't bought her. The way she'd angle her laptop away from me at home. The late-night emails she'd send, her fingers flying across the keyboard, then deleting the sent folder. I cross-referenced her calendar with Gavin, something I could do because we all shared schedules for project syncs. 3 off-site meetings in 2 weeks, both their names attached, no agenda listed. I called our IT guy Mike, a buddy from my early days at the firm. Can you pull server logs for off-site access? I asked, keeping it casual. He didn't ask questions, just sent me a report. Tara and Gavin had logged into the same VPN from a hotel IP address last Thursday at 9 p.m. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed proof, something undeniable. So I bought a small voice-activated recorder, the kind used for meetings, and slipped it into her purse one morning. It felt wrong, like I was betraying her. But the alternative, living in doubt, was worse. That night she said she had a team dinner. I nodded, kissed her forehead, and watched her leave, her heels clicking on our hardwood floor. The recorder picked up everything. At 7:32 p.m., Tara's voice. You sure he's not suspicious? A man's laugh, low and familiar. Gavin, Adam. Nah, he's too busy saving the company to notice. My blood ran cold. They were at a restaurant, glasses clinking, her giggle sharp and intimate. You're bad, she said, playful. Only for you, he replied. Then silence, the kind that screamed more than words. I stopped the recording, my hands numb. The room spun. My wife, my best friend, in my company. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on our balcony, the Seattle skyline blurred by rain, and planned. I wasn't going to scream or throw punches. That's not who I am. I'm Adam Wexler, the guy who builds systems, solves problems, and stays 3 steps ahead. If they thought they could play me, they were wrong. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was a declaration of war. The next day I called my lawyer, Paul Grayson, a guy I'd known since college. He specialized in corporate law but knew family law too. I need options, I said, keeping my voice steady. Discreet ones. Paul didn't pry. He outlined steps: protect assets, gather evidence, consider a PI for harder proof. I hired the PI, a woman named Claire Voss, ex-cop with a no-nonsense vibe. Give me a week, she said. You'll know everything. Claire was fast. By day 3, she had photos. Tara and Gavin leaving a downtown hotel, his hand on her lower back. Another shot them in his car, her head on his shoulder. The final blow, a grainy video from a bar's security feed, them kissing in a booth, oblivious to the world. I stared at the screen, my coffee going cold. 12 years of marriage, 20 years of friendship reduced to a 30-second clip. I could have confronted them then. Marched into Gavin's office, thrown the photos on his desk and watched him squirm. Or waited for Tara at home, played the recording and seen her face crumble. But that's what they'd expect. A fight tears apologies. I didn't want their regret. I wanted their world to shift the way mine had. So I kept quiet and dug deeper. Claire's next report was a goldmine. Gavin wasn't just sleeping with my wife. He was skimming from the company. Small amounts buried in expense reports, $5,000 here, $10,000 there, funneled to a shell account. I cross-checked with our finance team using my access as a senior manager. The numbers matched. Gavin had been at it for months, maybe years. Enough to fund his flashy car, his tailored suits, maybe even those gold hoops on Tara's ears. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was professional. I met Paul again, this time at a quiet diner outside the city. "Can we nail him?" I asked, sliding the financial records across the table. Paul's eyes lit up. "Oh yeah, embezzlement's a felony. But we need airtight proof." I nodded. "I'll get it." Back at the office, I worked late, pulling server logs, cross-referencing timestamps. Gavin wasn't careful. He'd used his work laptop to access the shell account. Sloppy, arrogant. Tara, meanwhile, was oblivious. She'd kiss me goodbye each morning, her lips soft but distant, and head to work where she'd sit 2 floors above me, planning her next meeting with Gavin. I started noticing her patterns. She'd leave her purse on the kitchen counter when she showered, her phone unlocked half the time. One morning I checked her emails, a confirmation for a weekend conference in Portland. I checked Gavin's calendar, same trip, same hotel. My PI confirmed it, they'd booked 1 room. The Portland trip was in 3 days. I had a choice: follow them, catch them in the act, or let them think they were safe. I chose the latter. Claire rigged their hotel room with a hidden camera, not illegal since it was a public booking, no audio, just visuals. She'd done it before, knew the gray areas. "You sure you want to see this?" she asked, handing me the setup details. "I don't want to see it," I said. "I need to." Friday came. Tara packed a small suitcase, kissed me and said, "See you Sunday." I smiled, told her to have fun. The dogs watched her go, their tails still. I waited an hour, then drove to the office. Gavin was already gone, his desk empty except for a coffee mug I'd given him years ago, a gag gift from a team retreat. I stared at it, then smashed it in the trash can. First crack in my calm. That night I sat alone in our condo, the dogs curled at my feet, and opened my laptop. Claire's feed was live. The hotel room was dim but clear enough. Tara walked in, laughing, Gavin behind her, his arm around her waist. They didn't waste time. Clothes hit the floor. The camera caught it all. I closed the laptop, my breath ragged. Rain pounded the windows. I wasn't angry anymore. I was cold, focused, ready. Monday morning they'd be back acting like nothing happened. Tara would kiss me, Gavin would slap my back, and we'd all play our parts. But I wasn't their pawn. Not anymore. I had the video, the financial records, and a plan. This wasn't just a revenge story. It was my revenge story, and it was just beginning. Monday morning hit like a freight train. I walked into the office, my laptop bag heavy with secrets. Tara was already there, her desk a clutter of coffee cups and Post-its, her smile bright as she waved at me from across the open plan floor. "Morning, babe?" She called, her voice warm, like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't spent the weekend in Portland tangled up with Gavin Hatcher, my best friend turned traitor. I nodded, my jaw tight, and kept walking. Gavin was in his office, feet up, scrolling through his phone. He flashed me that same old grin, the one I used to trust. "Wexler, you look like you need a coffee," he said, chuckling. I forced a smirk. Long weekend. I sat at my desk, the hum of the office fading into white noise. My screen glowed with project timelines, but my mind was elsewhere. Claire's video from the hotel was burned into my brain, every frame, every laugh, every touch. The financial records were worse. Gavin had siphoned off $150,000 over 2 years, small enough to slip past audits, but enough to fund his double life. I had enough to bury them both, but I wasn't ready to pull the trigger. Not yet. Revenge stories don't end with a single blow. They build layer by layer until the target doesn't see the final strike coming. I opened an encrypted folder on my laptop where I'd stored everything: the video, the server logs, the expense reports. Claire had sent a new file that morning, a background check on Gavin. It was dirtier than I'd expected. He'd been married before, back in his late 20s, to a woman named Ellen Carter. Divorced after 3 years, no kids, but the settlement was messy. Ellen had accused him of fraud, claimed he'd hidden assets. The case was dropped for lack of evidence, but it planted a seed. Gavin wasn't just a cheater, he was a schemer, always playing angles. I wondered how much Tara knew. My phone buzzed. A text from Tara: lunch today. Thai place. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering. Part of me wanted to say yes, to sit across from her study, her eyes, see if I could spot the lie, but I couldn't play that game anymore. I typed back, swamped. Maybe tomorrow. She replied with a sad emoji. I locked my phone and turned to my monitor. Work was my cover, my alibi. I had a project deadline in 2 weeks, a new inventory system for a retail chain. I buried myself in code, letting the numbers drown out the noise in my head. At noon, I saw them leave together. Tara in her navy blazer, Gavin in his usual tailored suit, laughing as they headed for the elevator. I waited 5 minutes, then grabbed my keys and followed. Claire had taught me how to tail without being seen. Keep distance, blend in, don't stare. They went to a cafe a block away, the kind with outdoor tables and overpriced salads. I parked across the street, my car's tinted windows shielding me. Through my binoculars, I watched them. Tara leaned in her hand, brushing his. Gavin said something and she laughed, her head tilting back, her earrings catching the sun. Those gold hoops. I gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I didn't go back to the office. Instead, I drove to Claire's office, a cramped space above a vape shop in Capitol Hill. She was waiting, her desk piled with files and energy drink cans. You look like hell, she said, sliding a chair toward me. I didn't sit. What else you got on Hatcher, I asked. She raised an eyebrow, then handed me a folder. He's got a second phone, she said. Burner registered under a fake name. Been texting your wife from it for 6 months. Also, he's been meeting with a guy named Victor Lyle, CFO, at a rival firm. Looks like he's shopping your company's client list. I flipped through the pages. Call logs, photos of Gavin and Victor at a bar, a screenshot of an email offering proprietary data for $200,000. My company's data. My work. This enough for the feds, I asked. Claire shrugged. Maybe. But corporate espionage is tricky. You'd need more to make it stick. I nodded, my mind racing. Gavin wasn't just stealing from me. He was dismantling everything I'd built. Tara was part of it, whether she knew it or not. Back home, Tara was in the kitchen chopping vegetables for dinner. The dogs were at her feet, begging for scraps. You're home early, she said, glancing up. Her smile was softer now, almost guilty. I wondered if she sensed something. Yeah, I said, grabbing a beer from the fridge. Needed a break. She kept chopping, the knife's rhythm steady. I watched her, my wife, my betrayer, and felt the weight of the recorder in my pocket. I'd swapped it out that morning, downloading last night's audio. Nothing incriminating, just her talking to her sister about a coworker's promotion. But I kept it running. Every word was evidence. Dinner was quiet. Tara talked about a new HR policy she was drafting, something about remote work. I nodded, ate my stir-fry, and let her fill the silence. After we watched a movie, some forgettable thriller, she curled up against me, her head on my chest. I could feel her heartbeat, steady and warm. For a moment, I wanted to believe it was real. But then I remembered the video, the cafe, the gold hoops. I excused myself, said I had emails to check, and locked myself in my home office. I called Paul, my lawyer. I want to freeze our joint accounts, I said. Can you make it look routine? He paused. Yeah, but she'll notice eventually. You sure? I was sure. Tara had access to our savings, $600,000 plus a brokerage account with another $200,000. If she was in on Gavin's scheme, I wasn't letting her walk away with my money. Paul promised to handle it by morning, routing everything through a trust. What about the company? He asked. You gonna blow the whistle on Hatcher? I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Not yet. I want him to feel safe first. The next day, I upped the ante. I asked Mike, our IT guy, to flag Gavin's laptop for routine maintenance. He didn't question it, just scheduled a remote scan. By lunch, I had access to Gavin's browsing history, emails, even his cloud drive. He'd been careless saving client contracts in unencrypted folders, emailing Victor Lyle from his work account. I copied everything, then planted a small script on his system, a tracker that logged every keystroke. If he was selling our data, I'd know exactly when and how. Tara noticed my distance. That night, she cornered me in the living room, her arms crossed. "What's going on, Adam? You're barely here even when you're home." Her eyes searched mine, wide and worried. I almost laughed. She was good, I'd give her that. "Just work," I said, keeping my voice flat. "Big project." She stepped closer, her hand on my arm. "Talk to me, please." I looked at her, the woman I'd loved for over a decade, and saw a stranger. "I'm fine," I said, pulling away. "Just tired." She didn't push, but her jaw tightened and she went to bed alone. The first twist came on Wednesday. Claire called me at 6 a.m., her voice urgent. "Check your email, now." I opened my laptop, still in my boxers, and saw her message, a photo timestamped last night. Tara leaving a diner in Tacoma, 40 miles south. She wasn't alone. The man with her wasn't Gavin. He was older, maybe 60, with gray hair and a cheap suit. Claire's note. His name's Raymond Holt, private investigator. She hired him 2 weeks ago. My pulse spiked. Tara was investigating someone. Me, Gavin. I called Claire. "What's she looking for?" I asked. "Not sure," Claire said. "But Holt's good. Ex-FBI. If she's on to you, you're in trouble." I spent the day rattled. Tara, playing the victim, was now the hunter. At the office, she was all business, leading a staff meeting while I watched from the back. Gavin was there too, charming the room, oblivious to the noose tightening around him. I wondered if Tara suspected his embezzlement, if that's why she'd hired Holt. Or maybe she was covering her tracks, preparing for a divorce, a payout. I couldn't trust her motives, not anymore. That night I tailed her myself. She said she was meeting a friend for drinks. I followed at a distance, my car blending into Seattle's evening traffic. She pulled into a parking lot near Pike Place, but it wasn't a bar. It was a law office. I watched her walk in, her purse slung over her shoulder. 20 minutes later, she came out with a woman in her 50s, sharp suit, no-nonsense vibe. I snapped a photo, sent it to Claire. Her reply came fast. "Lydia Monroe, divorce attorney, top tier. Tara's gearing up." My stomach dropped. Tara wasn't just cheating. She was planning her exit. Maybe taking half my assets, maybe more. I drove home, the city lights blurring. The dogs greeted me, their tails wagging, but the condo felt empty. I poured a whiskey, sat on the balcony, and replayed everything. Tara's late nights, Gavin's arrogance, the burner phone, the PI, the lawyer. I was surrounded by enemies, and I'd been blind. Then came the second twist. Friday morning, I got an email from an anonymous account. No subject, just a single line: "Check the company's offshore account." Hatcher's not the only one. Attached was a PDF, a bank statement from a Cayman Islands account I'd never seen. Deposits totaling $300,000 linked to our firm. The account wasn't in Gavin's name. It was in Tara's. I stared at the screen, my coffee cold. My wife wasn't just sleeping with my best friend. She was stealing from the company too. I called Paul immediately. "Can you verify this?" I sent him the file. He called back in an hour, his voice grim. "It's real. The account's active, tied to her personal email. She's been moving money for at least a year." I leaned back, my head spinning. Tara, the woman who'd cried at our wedding, who'd nursed our dogs through surgeries, was a thief. A liar. A mastermind. I'd underestimated her, and it was costing me. I confronted Claire that afternoon. "Why didn't you catch this?" I asked, pacing her office. She didn't flinch. "She's good, Adam. Better than Hatcher. She's been using encrypted apps, routing payments through proxies. I'm digging, but it's slow." I nodded, my mind racing. Tara's PI, her lawyer, her secret account, they weren't just about leaving me. She was building an empire, and Gavin was either her partner or her pawn. I needed to act fast. I met Mike after hours in the office server room, the hum of machines masking our voices. "Can you trace her logins?" I asked. He hesitated. "That's risky, man. If she's got admin access, she'll see me poking around." I slid him an envelope, $2,000 in cash. "Do it." He pocketed the money and got to work. By midnight, he had something. Tara had been accessing a hidden folder on the company server labeled HR Archives. It wasn't HR data, it was client contracts same as Gavin's, but with notes, prices, dates, competitors' bids. She was selling our secrets too, but smarter, cleaner. Saturday, I played normal. Tara and I went to a farmer's market, her idea. She bought peaches, chatted with vendors, held my hand. I smiled, nodded, played the husband. But I was watching. Her phone buzzed constantly and she'd glance at it, then tuck it away. At one point, she stepped aside to take a call, her voice low. I caught 2 words, Holt and tonight. She was meeting her PI again. That night, I followed her to a warehouse district, my headlights off. She parked near a storage unit where Holt was waiting, a briefcase in hand. They talked for 10 minutes, then he handed her the case. She drove off and I tailed her to a bank where she used a 24-hour ATM. I couldn't see what she deposited, but I didn't need to. Claire's tracker on Tara's car confirmed it. She'd gone straight to a safe deposit box. Sunday, I got another anonymous email. This time a video clip, low res, from a parking garage. Tara and Gavin arguing. He grabbed her arm. She yanked away, her face furious. The timestamp was last week before Portland. The sender's message, she's playing him too. I watched it again, my heart pounding. Tara wasn't Gavin's lover. She was his boss or his rival or something else entirely. The affair was a cover, a distraction. But for what Monday, I walked into the office with a new plan. I'd been playing defense, gathering evidence, staying quiet. No more. I called a meeting with our CEO, Diane Kessler, a no-nonsense woman who'd built the company from scratch. I've got something you need to see, I said, handing her a USB drive. It had everything: Gavin's expense reports, Tara's offshore account, the client data leaks. I didn't mention the affair, not yet. This stays between us, I said. She nodded, her eyes narrowing. If this is true, they're done. That afternoon, Gavin was called to Diane's office. He walked out an hour later, pale as tie, loose. Tara was next. She didn't look at me as she passed my desk, her heels clicking. I watched the clock, waiting. At 5 p.m., Diane emailed the senior team emergency board meeting tomorrow. Attendance mandatory. I leaned back, my pulse steady. The trap was set. But Tara wasn't done. That night she came home late, her face drawn. "We need to talk," she said, her voice shaking. I followed her to the living room, the dogs watching from their beds. She sat, her hands clasped. "Adam, I know you're hiding something. I hired someone to check on you." My blood froze, what I asked keeping my tone even. She looked me in the eye. "I thought you were cheating. I found your searches, your calls to Paul. What's going on?" I stared at her, the woman who'd turned my life upside down, now accusing me. It was a brilliant move, flipping the script, making me the villain. For a second, I doubted myself. Then I remembered the video, the bank statement, the storage unit. "You tell me," I said, my voice low. She flinched just for a moment, then stood. "I'm sleeping at a friend's tonight." She grabbed her bag and left, the door slamming. The dogs whimpered. I didn't move. Claire called at midnight. "Holt's working for someone else too," she said. "Not just Tara. I traced his payments. They're coming from Victor Lyle's firm, the rival CFO." The pieces clicked. Tara and Gavin weren't just stealing from me. They were part of a bigger game, a corporate takeover bid. Victor's company wanted our clients, our tech, our market share. Tara was the inside woman, Gavin the fall guy, and I was the collateral damage. I didn't sleep. I spent the night planning, cross-referencing Claire's data with Mike's server logs. By dawn, I had a new file, proof that Tara had met Victor 3 times in the past month, each time after a major client deal. I sent it to Diane, anonymous, from a burner email. Let her think it came from an whistleblower. The board meeting was in 4 hours. I showered, dressed, and drove to the office, my laptop bag heavier than ever. The meeting was chaos. Diane laid out the evidence, not naming names, but pointing fingers. Gavin tried to talk his way out, his charm faltering. Tara stayed silent, her face a mask. I watched, saying nothing, my heart pounding. Then Diane dropped the bomb: the FBI was involved. Embezzlement, data theft, wire fraud. Gavin's face went white. Tara's hands trembled. I leaned back, my expression neutral, but inside I was roaring. After the meeting, Tara cornered me in the hall. "Did you do this?" she hissed, her eyes blazing. I looked at her, my wife, my enemy, and said, "You did this to yourself." She stared, then walked away, her heels echoing. Gavin was gone by lunch, escorted out by security. Rumors spread fast: embezzlement, termination, maybe jail. Tara kept working, but her desk was cleared by evening. Diane called me in. "You knew," she said, "not a question." I nodded. "Good work," she said. "You're interim sales director. Don't screw it up." I drove home, the city dark and wet. The condo was empty. Tara's clothes gone from the closet. The dogs greeted me, their warmth the only real thing left. I opened my laptop, checked Claire's feed. Tara had checked into a hotel alone. Gavin was at a bar drinking himself stupid. I poured a whiskey, sat on the balcony, and let the rain wash over me. This wasn't the end. Tara was too smart to go quietly. Gavin was too desperate. And Victor Lyle was still out there pulling strings. I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. This revenge story had more chapters, and I was writing them all. The Seattle skyline glittered through my condo's windows, but the city felt like a stranger. Tara was gone, her side of the closet a row of empty hangers. Gavin was a ghost, his office stripped bare after security hauled him out. I sat at my desk, interim sales director, a title that tasted like ash. The dogs Milo and Luna slept at my feet, their soft snores the only sound in the room. My laptop glowed with Claire's latest report. Tara had accessed her safe deposit box again, withdrawing something, documents, cash, maybe both. Victor Lyle, the rival CFO, was still in play, his firm circling our clients like vultures. This wasn't over, not even close. Tuesday morning, I walked into the office, my tie crisp, my face a mask. Diane, the CEO, nodded as I passed her office, her eyes sharp with trust I hadn't earned yet. The board meeting had shaken things up, whispers of FBI involvement, audits, layoffs. I kept my head down, focusing on my new role. Gavin's team was a mess, half loyal to him, half scrambling to save their jobs. I called a meeting, laid out new targets, and watched their faces. Some nodded, others stared, wondering if I was the guy who'd torched their boss. I didn't care. I had bigger problems. Claire met me at a diner that afternoon, her laptop open to a grainy photo. Tara leaving a coffee shop with Lydia Monroe, her divorce attorney. "She's moving fast," Claire said, sipping her Coke. "Filed papers yesterday. Claims infidelity, yours." I laughed, a bitter sound. "Me. That's rich." Claire shrugged. "She's got texts, Adam. Forged maybe, but they look real. You with some woman named Rachel, late night chats, hotel bookings." My jaw tightened. Rachel didn't exist. Tara was building a case, painting me as the villain to secure alimony, maybe half our assets. "Can you trace the texts?" I asked. Claire nodded. "Already on it, but there's more. Holt, her PI, met with Victor Lyle last night. They're working together." My mind raced. Tara, Victor, Holt, a triangle of betrayal with me in the crosshairs. I leaned back, the diner's neon buzz filling the silence. "What's her endgame?" I asked. Claire closed her laptop. "Best guess, she wants your company's tech. Victor's firm can't innovate, so they're stealing your edge. Tara's the mole, Gavin was the distraction. The affair kept you off balance." I stared at my coffee, cold now. Tara wasn't just cheating. She was orchestrating a corporate heist, and I'd been too busy nursing my broken heart to see it. Back at the office, I dug into Tara's server folder again, using Mike's access. The HR archives were a goldmine: client bids, source code snippets, even a draft patent for our new inventory system. My system. She'd been feeding it to Victor piece by piece. I copied everything, encrypted it, and sent it to Paul, my lawyer. "Build a case," I told him. "Not just divorce. Fraud, theft, conspiracy." Paul's voice was steady. "This is big, Adam. You sure you want to go nuclear?" I didn't hesitate. She started the war. I'm ending it. That night I got a text from an unknown number: "Meet me. Midnight, Pier 57, come alone." No signature, but I knew Tara's cadence, the way she punctuated. I should have ignored it, called Claire, played it safe. But I'm Adam Wexler, the guy who faces problems head on. I grabbed my jacket, told the dogs to behave, and drove to the waterfront. The pier was dark, the Ferris wheel looming like a silent giant. Tara stood under a street lamp, her coat tight against the wind. No lawyer, no PI, just her. Her eyes locked on mine, sharp and unreadable. "You set me up," she said, her voice low. "The FBI, the audits, it's you." I stepped closer, my hands in my pockets. "You're one to talk. Offshore accounts, Victor Lyle, fake texts. What's next?" Tara, blackmail. Her lips parted just for a second, then hardened. You don't get it, Adam. I was protecting us. Gavin was the problem, skimming money, selling secrets. I played along to trap him. I laughed, cold and sharp. Nice try. I've got your files, your meetings, your safe deposit box. You're not the hero here. She stepped forward, her perfume hitting me like a memory. You think you know everything, but you're blind. Check your email. Now. I hesitated, then pulled out my phone. An anonymous message sent an hour ago. A video clip shaky from a car's dash cam. Gavin meeting Victor Lyle in a parking lot, handing over a USB drive. The timestamp was last month. Tara's voice was in the background, faint but clear. He's selling us out, Victor. We need to move faster. I froze. Tara wasn't working with Gavin. She was using him just like Claire had said. But for what? Explain. I said, my voice steel. She crossed her arms. Gavin's been bleeding the company for years. I found out 6 months ago, tried to tell Diane, but she wouldn't listen without proof. So I got close to him, played his game. Victor was my contact. He promised to expose Gavin if I fed him data. It was a deal, Adam, for us. I stared at her, my wife, my enemy, her words twisting like a knife. You slept with him, I said. I saw the video. Her eyes flickered guilty. I had to make it real. For the plan. I turned away, the water black and endless. You broke us, Tara. For nothing. She grabbed my arm. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I was saving the company, saving you. Let me fix this. I yanked free, my voice low. You don't fix this. You don't fix us. I walked away, her silhouette fading in the fog. Back in my car, I gripped the wheel, my breath ragged. Tara's story didn't add up. If she was trapping Gavin, why the divorce papers? Why the fake texts? She was playing me still. The next morning, Claire dropped a bomb. Holt's dead, she said, her voice clipped. Car accident last night, single vehicle, no witnesses. Cops are calling it a DUI, but I don't buy it. My stomach churned. Holt, Tara's PI, the ex-FBI guy who'd been tailing me, working for Victor. Dead hours after I met Tara. You think she's involved? I asked. Claire's eyes narrowed. Her or Lyle. Someone's tying up loose ends. I leaned back, the office's hum distant. Tara wasn't just a thief. She was dangerous. I called Diane, told her everything. Holt, Victor, Tara's double game. She listened, her face unreadable through the video call. We're locking down the servers, she said. No one touches client data until the FBI sorts this out. You're running point on sales, Adam. Keep the team steady. I nodded, but my mind was elsewhere. Tara had vanished, her hotel room empty, her phone off. Claire tracked her car to an airport parking lot, but no flight records. She was a ghost, and I was running out of time. The third twist hit that afternoon. Mike, the IT guy, burst into my office, his face pale. You need to see this. He pulled up a server log, a hidden script buried in the code. It wasn't Tara's or Gavin's. It was mine. My login, my credentials time-stamped last week, uploading client data to an external drive. I didn't do this, I said, my voice hollow. Mike nodded, but his eyes were nervous. Someone framed you, man. And it's tight. Looks real. I stared at the screen, my pulse pounding. Tara. She'd used my access, my trust to make me the fall guy. If Diane saw this, I was done, fired, maybe arrested. I called Paul, sent him the logs. Can you fight this? I asked. He sighed. It's bad, Adam. Your log and your IP. We need to prove it's a setup, and fast. I hung up, my hands shaking. The office felt like a cage, every glance from a coworker a judgment. I grabbed my laptop and left, driving to Claire's office. Find her, I said, slamming my fist on her desk. Tara's behind this, all of it. Claire didn't flinch. I've got a lead. Her safe deposit box, there's a second key registered to a guy named Ethan Walsh. Small-time hacker, works for Victor's firm. I nodded, my jaw tight. Get me everything on Walsh. By evening, Claire had a file. Ethan Walsh, 32, a freelance coder with a rap sheet, cyber theft, fraud, nothing major. He'd been meeting Tara for months, posing as a consultant. Photos showed them at a tech meetup, her hand on his arm, his smirk too familiar. Another lover, another pawn, I didn't care. Walsh was the key. Claire tracked him to a dive bar in Fremont. I went alone, my anger a live wire. The bar was dim, reeking of stale beer. Walsh was in a booth, nursing a whiskey, his laptop open. I slid in across from him, my eyes locked on his. You know who I am? I asked. He smirked, unfazed. Adam Wexler, the guy who's about to lose everything. I leaned in, my voice low. Tara's framing me. You're helping her. Talk or I go to the feds with your name. His smirk faded. You don't scare me, man. She's got you pinned. Those logs ironclad. I pulled out my phone, played a clip. Claire had sent an audio of Walsh and Tara planning the server hack. His face went white. Where'd you get that? He stammered. I stood towering over him. Last chance. Where's she going? Walsh cracked. She's leaving tonight. Private jet, Victor's company. They're heading to Singapore, new identities. She's got your client list, your code, everything. I nodded, my mind racing. One more thing, I said. The frame job. Undo it. He hesitated, then typed fast, his fingers shaking. It's done. Logs are clean, but she'll know. I walked out, the bar's noise fading. Tara was running, but I wasn't letting her escape. I called Diane, sent her Walsh's confession, the audio, everything. She was livid but focused. The FBI's on it, she said. They're grounding Victor's jet. Stay put, Adam. I didn't. I drove to the airfield, my car screaming through the rain. Claire met me there, her SUV idling. You sure about this? She asked. I nodded, my jaw set. She doesn't get to win. The jet was on the tarmac, engines humming. FBI agents swarmed, lights flashing. Tara stepped out, hands raised, her face pale but defiant. Victor was cuffed beside her, his suit rumpled. I watched from a distance, Claire's binoculars steady. Tara's eyes scanned the crowd, finding mine. For a moment, we were back at that tech conference, laughing over bad coffee. Then she looked away and the agents led her to a van. Victor followed, shouting about lawyers. The jet's engines died, the night silent, except for the rain. I didn't go home. I drove to the pier, the same one where Tara had tried to spin her lies. The water was black, the city lights distant. I thought about our wedding, her vows, my trust. I thought about Gavin, broken and drunk, his life unraveling. I thought about Holt dead in a ditch and Walsh running from his own mistakes. And I thought about me, Adam Wexler, the guy who'd built a life, lost it, and clawed it back. Diane called the next morning. You're clear, she said. Walsh's confession checks out. Tara's facing charges, fraud, theft, conspiracy. Victor too. Gavin's cutting a deal, ratting them out. I nodded, my voice steady. What about the company? She paused. We're rebuilding. You're permanent sales director if you want it. I said I'd think about it. The dogs were waiting, their tails wagging. I needed them more than a title. Weeks passed. The office settled, the rumors faded. I sold the condo, moved to a smaller place near the water, just me and the dogs. Tara's trial was set for next year, but I didn't follow the news. Gavin was gone, maybe in witness protection, maybe worse. Victor's firm collapsed, its stock tanking. I kept working, kept building, but something was different. I wasn't the guy who trusted easily anymore. Maybe that was the real cost. One night I got an email, no sender, just a single line, you won, but you lost too. No signature, but I knew Tara's voice even in text. I deleted it, poured a whiskey, and stepped onto my balcony. The stars were out, rare for Seattle. I thought about her words, her lies, her empire of betrayal. Was she right? Had I lost something, trust, love, myself? Or had I gained something harder, sharper, truer? I raised my glass to the night, to the man I'd become. Not a hero, not a victim. Just Adam Wexler, the guy who'd written his own revenge story. And I'd write more because life doesn't stop, and neither do I. What would you have done, let her win or burn it all down? Tell me, because I'm still deciding if I did the right thing. Like what you heard, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Revenge Forge, because the next story might just be your favorite one yet. Wife cheated in Omaha with my rival, stole my $50 million empire. I caught my wife whispering his name at a company gala, her hand on his arm. Her phone's lock screen showed a hotel she never mentioned. If this story grips your heart, hit like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Revenge Force for more unforgettable dramas. I'm Mark Hensley, 47, the guy who's kept an Omaha logistics firm humming for 18 years. As head of operations, I don't just move freight, I build empires. My team's optimized routes and personal client relationships drive $50 million of the company's $80 million revenue annually. No apps, no shortcuts, just trust, hustle, and a coffee shared over a deal. Life's been steady, a brick ranch in West Omaha, a '72 Dodge Charger in the garage, and Sundays grilling ribs with my daughter Lily 8, while country tunes hum from my old radio. My wife Rachel 34 was my spark dark hair, sharp wit, and a smile that could stop a room. 12 years married, 1 kid, and a love I thought was ironclad. My clients were my pride, Rachel, my home, until Brent Mallory tore it all apart. Brent 50 is my deputy director, a smooth talker with a real estate side hustle and eyes that promise deals. He's been with the firm a decade, always one step behind me, his ambition a quiet blade. We'd clash over strategy, my handshakes versus his algorithms, but I trusted him. Last month at our firm's gala in downtown Omaha, he raised a glass to me, his suit crisp. "Mark, you're the backbone," he said, his grin too easy. Rachel was there, stunning in a red dress, laughing at his side, her hand brushing his sleeve. I chalked it up to charm. My gut didn't buy it. 3 weeks later, I'm at the office, the Nebraska dawn sharp, finalizing a $10 million distribution deal. My lead planner, Tessa Brooks, 32, a firebrand with a knack for spotting cracks, pulls me aside. "Mark, check this." She shows me a rerouted shipment, unvetted carriers, not my vendors, costing $200,000 in delays. My jaw tightens. This is my contract. I email Brent, attaching proof. His replies curt: "Handle it, optics, handle it. I've saved millions with my roots." I loop in my logistics analyst, Cole Ramsey, 29, a data wizard with a linebacker's build and a skeptic's eye. "This smells like sabotage," he says, backing me. We document the routes, send a report to the board, and demand a vendor review. Silence. That night I'm home tossing a baseball with Lily, Rachel's laughter drifting from the kitchen. She's been off late nights at client dinners, her phone buzzing, her posts on X cryptic. I push the thought away, the Omaha skyline flickering through the dusk. Brent's dodge isn't a mistake, it's a play. Next morning I'm back auditing manifests when Cole flags me. "Mark, they're pushing a new tracking system. Brent's pick untested." My gut twists. This isn't error, it's a pattern. I log 25 violations, delayed shipments, rogue carriers, now this. I file an internal audit request, copying the board, my pulse hammering. Brent calls me in by noon, his office sleek, the air thick. "Mark, you're rocking the boat," he says, his voice smooth as whiskey, leaning back in his chair. "We're innovating, not failing." I hold his gaze, unflinching. "Your roots are tanking my deals." He leans forward, eyes hard as flint. "You're too old school, Hensley." The air crackles, his smirk a challenge. I walk out, my boots heavy on the tile, my team's trust on my back. Friday night I'm at the Rusty Nail, our cruise bar, the jukebox low with Waylon Jennings. The mood's tense. Tessa's sipping a stout, Cole's scrolling his phone, his flannel sleeves rolled up. "Brent's freezing us out," Tessa mutters. Board's eating his spin. I slam my glass down, whiskey sloshing. Then we make them choke on it. But doubt creeps in. Rachel's been distant, her marketing meetings run late, her perfume sharper, her ex-posts tagged at places I don't know. My phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number, check Rachel's tablet. "Home office tomorrow, 4 a.m. My pulse spikes, the bar's neon casting shadows. "A tip, a trap," I show Cole. "Could be real," he says. Tessa's wary, leaning in her braid, swinging. "Or Brent's baiting you." I don't sleep, the text a live wire, the Omaha night pressing against my windows. Saturday, I'm in Rachel's home office at 3:45, heart pounding like I'm breaking into my own life. Her tablet's on her password. Unchanged, Lily's birthday, a cruel jab. I open her X messages and choke private chats with Brent, flirty, intimate, timestamped from nights she was working. Photos her at his downtown loft, his arm around her, her smile, the one I thought was mine. My breath catches the screen's glare, searing. Worse, a bank transfer, $75,000 from our savings to an account labeled BM Ventures. My blood boils, the room's walls closing in. My wife, my heart is bankrolling him. I save the chats, my hand shaking, the Omaha dawn gray outside. This isn't just an affair, it's a heist. Back in the kitchen, I'm pacing the USB, a grenade in my pocket. My sister, Lauren Hensley, 44, a realtor with a bulldog's grit, is overreading my mood. "Mark, you're a storm," she says, tossing me a coffee, her jeans scuffed. I want to spill Brent, Rachel the money, but Lily's in the yard, her laughter a knife. I choke it back. "Work crap," I mutter, the mug burning my hand. Lauren grabs my arm, fierce. "You don't fight alone, brother." Her words hit, but the war's in my head. I dive into Rachel's X account, finding a thread with Brent. "Mark's too busy with roots. You get me. My heart twists, the Omaha skyline a blur. Worse, a post from her sister Paige Larson. Rachel's maiden name liking Brent's real estate ads. Paige covering for her Monday. I'm playing the part, but Brent's tightening the screws. He calls a team meeting, all charm, his watch glinting. Folks, we're scaling automation. Trust the vision. My crew looks to me, waiting for a signal. I stay stone-faced, my jaw tight. After Brent corners me near the loading docks, his cologne heavy with Rachel's scent. Mark joined my real estate venture. We're the future. His tones silk, his eyes venom. I nod cold. I'll pass. He misses the ice in my voice. Mistake. That afternoon, Tessa pulls me into the break room, her perfume cutting through the coffee scent, her voice urgent. Mark, I've got something. She hands me a USB shipment, logs my roots embedded in Brent's investor pitches for a $30 million real estate deal. He's lifting your work, she says, her eyes blazing, her hand brushing mine as she passes the drive. My blood surges. My roots stolen. Why now, I ask, my voice low. She leans in close, her breath warm. Because I see you breaking. The air shifts charged, but I pull back, gripping the USB. This fight's for my daughter, my name, my truth. Tuesday, my badge is dead. Security's waiting, new guy Derek with an HR letter, suspension pending investigation. Operational failures. My vision blurs, the paper trembling in my hand. Failures, I saved millions. I don't argue. I walk head high, but my gut's a furnace. In my Charger, the engine roaring, I call Cole. He's at the office, says Brent, spinning lies about mismanaged roots tied to me. Mismanaged, my roots were gold. I drive to a diner, the neon sign buzzing, and open my laptop. I've got logs, chats, everything. Then I find it, an email from Brent to a board member, Hensley's out. Push the deal. My blood boils, the diner's coffee sour. He didn't just steal my wife, he's erasing me. Wednesday, I meet Lauren at her real estate office, the Omaha skyline glinting through her window. Brent's using your routes to fund his properties, she says, sliding me a folder titled Deeds, my logistics data woven into his pitches. My jaw clenches. He's got Rachel's money, I say, voice low. Lauren's eyes narrow, and Paige's silence. She's been liking his posts. The betrayal stings, Rachel's sister, my family complicit. What's your play? Lauren asks, her pen tapping. I lean in cold. I'm taking it all back. She nods, fierce. Start with the bank. I leave the folder heavy, the city's hum fueling my resolve. Thursday, I'm digging into Brent's real estate deals. Cole texts, found a lead. Brent's dodging taxes on his properties. My cousin at the county assessor's office flagged it. My pulse kicks. Taxes. A crack in his armor. I hack Brent's ex-account, old skills from leaner days, and find a goldmine messages with a loan shark pressuring him for $500, 000. Brent's drowning in debt and Rachel's savings are his lifeline. My mind races. This isn't just betrayal, it's desperation. I save it. The diner's neon flickering, my heart a drum. This is a revenge story, and I'm writing the end. Friday morning, the anonymous text, check Rachel's tablet, is a splinter in my chest. I'm Mark Hensley, 47, suspended from the Omaha logistics firm I've carried for 18 years. My $50 million roots stolen by Brent Mallory, my deputy who's sleeping with my wife Rachel. Her ex messages, $75, 000, siphoned from our savings, and Brent's tax-dodging real estate scam burn in my mind. Tessa's USB proof of Brent's theft is heavy in my pocket. This isn't just an affair, it's a war, and I'm arming up. I'm up before dawn, coffee acrid, diving into Brent's digital trail. Using an old admin login from the firm's leaner days, I crack his cloud drive. His ex-chats with Rachel are raw marks buried in work. You're my spark, she wrote last week. My jaw clenches, but there's more transfers to BM Ventures, $150, 000 total funneled through Shell LLCs. My blood surges. Rachel didn't just cheat, she's bankrolling his empire. Worse, I find a draft email to a loan shark, Victor Crane, promising $500, 000 by month's end. Brent's drowning in debt, and my money's his lifeline. I encrypt the files, stashing the drive in my safe hands, steady but pulse hammering. This is a revenge story, and I'm the hunter. At 8 a.m., I call Cole Ramsey, my logistics analyst. He's at the office dodging Brent's new schedulers, butchering my routes. Mark, it's chaos, he says, voice low. Clients are bailing shipments late. My deal's $50 million in revenue, gutted by greed. What about Tessa, I ask. Cole pauses. Brooks is spooked. Took a sick day. Tessa Brooks, my lead planner who'd rally a crew through a blizzard bailing now, my instincts scream foul. Track her, I say. And Brent. Cole grunts. Done. I hit the firm's shipment logs hunting Brent's tracks. Their fake consulting fees to BM Ventures buried as vendor costs tied to Rachel's login. My chest tightens. Rachel. My wife rigging my books. I text her, meet me. Noon. No reply. My mind races. She's not just cheating. She's framing me. I pull server logs finding tampered root data timestamped to Rachel's late-night sessions. I'm about to call Lauren when my phone buzzes another anonymous text. Check Brent's laptop. Warehouse office 6 a.m. tomorrow. My pulse spikes. Another tip or a setup? I don't sleep the Omaha night heavy, the text a spark in my veins. Noon, I'm at a diner off Dodge Street meeting Ethan Holt, 53, a private investigator with a nose for corporate rot. He slides in, eyes like slate. Mark Brent's got a fixer, Jasper Klein, ex-cop turned muscle. He sent those texts. My gut twists. A setup. Ethan hands me a flash drive. Klein's records. Brent's paying him to pin delays on you. I pocket it, jaw clenched. Klein's endgame. Ethan leans in, voice low. He's forging invoices, $1.5 million mismanagement, all pointing to you. I nod, the game clear. Brent's not just stealing my life, he's framing me as a failure. Back at my ranch, Lauren's there, her realtor's calm, reading my mood. Mark, you're a damn tornado, she says, tossing me a beer, her boots scuffed. I want to spill Brent Rachel the frame, but Lily's in the yard, her laughter a blade. I choke it back. Rough week, I mutter, the bottle cold. Lauren grabs my arm, fierce. You don't fight alone, brother. Her words hit, but the war's in my head. I hack Brent's real estate firm's server skills sharp from leaner days. And find a jackpot, my route schedule's rebranded as Mallory Logistics pitched for a $40 million deal. Worse, a dossier my morning jogs Lily's school, Lauren's office. My blood runs cold. Brent's not just after my deals, he's after my family. I'm about to call Cole when Rachel texts Mark I messed up. Meet me at the old warehouse, 8 p.m. No explanation, just urgency. My gut screams trap, but she's still Lily's mom. I grab my keys and roll. The warehouse is a husk, empty pallets, shadows dancing in the Omaha dusk. Rachel's waiting pale, twisting her scarf. Brent pressured me, she admits, voice cracking. He needed cash for his properties, said it was a loan. My fists clench. A loan, she drained our savings. Why him? I snarl, stepping closer. Her eyes meet mine, shattered. You were always at work, Mark. He saw me. Her breath catches the air heavy. What's his plan? I demand, voice ice. She swallows. He's closing a deal tomorrow night, the Union Club with investors. I nod, rage coiling. You're with me or you're gone. She nods, tears falling, her eyes pleading. Trust's dead, but I need her access. Saturday morning, I'm at the warehouse office at 5:45, heart pounding like I'm cracking a vault. Brent's laptop's on his login, sloppy. I pull up his files and choke, my roots rebranded, tied to a $40 million real estate fund. Emails with Jasper Hensley's a liability. Neutralize him. Neutralize, I've carried this firm for decades. I copy the files, hands steady, but rage simmering, the Omaha sunrise, a faint glow. That afternoon, Cole calls. Mark, Tessa's back, but she's off. Met Brent last night. My stomach drops. Tessa, my ally. Follow her, I say. Cole hesitates. She's tight with Rachel's sister, Paige. The first twist hits like a snapped cable. Paige Larson, Rachel's sister who liked Brent's ex-posts. Is Tessa in on this? I dive into Tessa's work email, finding a thread with Paige. Rachel's stressed. Brent's pushing her, my jaw tightens. Pushing or pulling strings. Sunday, I meet Ethan at his office, the Omaha skyline glinting. Jasper's dirty, he says, handing me another drive. He's bribing a board member, Nora Vance, to bury your audit. My pulse spikes. Nora, our CFO who greenlit Brent's tracking system. The second twist burns. I hack Nora's email, finding payments from BM Ventures, $200,000 labeled consulting. Nora's not just complicit, she's bought. I save it, my blood boiling. What's your play? Ethan asks. I lean in cold. Crash Brent's deal. Monday, Lauren texts, found more. Brent's properties are leveraged to Crane, the loan shark. He's underwater. My sister, the silent warrior, digging for me. I call Ethan. Need into the Union Club, I say. He chuckles sharp. Got a bartender, hates Brent, you're in. I'm not crashing Brent's deal, I'm torching it. I hack the Union Club's network cameras, guest lists, Wi-Fi. It's tight, but I've cracked worse. Brent's emails reveal more Hensley's suspension buys time. Close before he talks. Close! The word sears my ranch's brick walls closing in. Tuesday night, I'm outside the Union Club Omaha's elite den, all steel and whispers. Ethan's bartender slips me past security, my borrowed jacket stiff. Inside, it's leather and bourbon Brent at a private booth with Victor Crane and two investors laughing like kings. My blood simmers, but I stay cold, sliding into a corner. I've got a burner phone with Cole's app, a data sniffer to grab their files. I text Tessa, parked nearby with a signal jammer. Go. Their Wi-Fi drops, forcing them to my rigged hotspot. Contracts, emails, deal memos, everything streams to me, the club's jazz masking my pulse. The third twist hits like a collapsing crane. A hand grabs my shoulder. I spin, expecting security, but it's Rachel, eyes blazing, no trace of last night's wreck. "Mark, I'm in!" She whispers, her perfume sharp. Brent threatened to expose my transfers if I didn't play along. Before I can respond, Brent spots us. His face shifts, shock, then fury. He strides over Crane, trailing his boots clicking on the oak floor. "Hensley," he sneers, "you're a dead man." I stand, locking eyes. "You stole my deals, my wife. You're done." Rachel's at my side, unyielding, her presence a spark. The air crackles, the club's elite watching their glasses frozen. The fourth twist lands like a vault door slamming. A woman steps forward, Ellen Harper, 54, a retired logistics exec and silent board member holding a tablet, her heels sharp. "Brent's not just poaching," she says, voice like a blade. "He's laundering money through BM Ventures." She swipes, showing bank records, $8 million funneled offshore. My jaw drops. "Ellen." "Here." Her eyes meet mine, fierce. "You didn't think I'd let him gut us, did you?" "I forgot Ellen mentored me years ago. She's not just a board member, she's my ace." Brent pales, stammering. "Lies." Crane bolts, "But security's closing in, not for us." Ellen signaled a state auditor waiting outside the club's lights glinting off her tablet. Chaos erupts. Brent lunges for the tablet, but Rachel blocks him, swift, her shoulder brushing mine. The auditor steps in, badge gleaming. "Brent Mallory, you're coming with us." The club clears, whispers trailing like smoke. I'm left with Rachel and Ellen, my pulse a drum. Ellen saved me, but Rachel's eyes are cold. "You didn't trust me, Mark," she says, voice low, her scarf slipping. "We're not done." She walks out, her silhouette fading into the Omaha night. Ellen grips my arm. "We got him, but victory tastes like ash." Wednesday, I'm at my ranch, the silence deafening. Cole calls. "Brent's detained, his firm's done. We're auditing BM Ventures, you're cleared, Mark." I nod, but my mind's on Rachel. I shut her out, fought alone, and it cost us. I drive to Paige's place where she's packing Rachel's things, her face guarded. "She's sorry," Paige starts, voice soft. I cut her off. "She chose him." Paige nods, eyes sad. "She's at a hotel. Talk to her." I don't argue, it's a start. "Tell me where," I say, stepping closer. Paige hesitates, then writes an address. "Don't hate her, Mark." I walk out the Omaha skyline, flickering my heart, a tangle of rage and regret. Thursday, I'm chasing Jasper's trail. Ethan's drive has a lead payments to a local ex-influencer prepping a smear piece on me. Jasper's still out there, a shadow. My phone buzzes. Tessa. "Mark, Rachel found something." She sends a tablet, Brent's firm's internal memo dated yesterday, outlining a backup plan to relaunch my roots under a shell company, Pinnacle Logistics, with Crane as silent partner. My jaw tightens. Brent's down, but his loan shark's keeping the scam alive. I call Rachel. "You okay?" She's steady but tense. "I'm fine. But Pinnacle's using your work, Mark. They're not done." I lean back, the ranch's brick walls grounding me. "Then neither are we." Friday, I meet Ethan at a park, the Missouri River rushing nearby. "Pinnacle's a front," he says, handing me another drive. "Jasper's running their data. He's got to mole someone close." My stomach drops. Close, I trust Cole, Ellen, but Rachel. Her guilt, her distance, it gnaws at me. "Find the mole," I say. Ethan nods, grim. "Watch your back, Mark. Jasper's a ghost." Saturday, I'm at the office, cross-referencing Pinnacle's contracts. I find a thread Pinnacle's funding traces to a local VC, Horizon Capital, where Paige's husband, Greg Larson, is a partner. The fifth twist cuts deep. Greg, who coached Lily's soccer team, is bankrolling Pinnacle. I save the evidence, my hands shaking, the office's hum fading. This isn't just Brent. It's a network, and my family's in it. Sunday, I confront Greg at his office door, locked. Horizon's funding pinnacle, I say, tossing the logs on his desk. He smirks, leaning back, his tie loose. Business, Mark, you're too rigid. My fists clench, his betrayal a knife. You're selling my roots. He laughs sharp. Join Pinnacle, we'll make you rich. I step closer, voice ice, I'd rather burn it down. I walk out, his smirk a challenge, the Omaha skyline stark through his window. Monday. I'm digging deeper when Cole bursts in. Mark, Tessa's flipping. My heart stops. Flipping, he hands me a drive. Tessa's emails with Jasper, feeding him my audit reports. The sixth twist is a gut punch. Tessa, my firebrand, was the mole. Why, I snarl. Cole shakes his head. Brent promised her a cut. My blood boils, but I focus. Get her to talk. Cole nods, his eyes fierce. She's meeting Jasper tonight, old rail yard. We can trap them. Tuesday night, I'm at the rail yard, Ethan at my side, the Omaha air thick with rust. Tessa's there, nervous, wired with Ethan's mic. Jasper's late, but headlights flash, Rachel not. Tessa steps out, her face pale. Mark, I followed Tessa, she whispers, voice breaking. She's been playing us all. Before I can process, Jasper emerges, gun glinting. My pulse hammers, but I stay calm. Tessa's done, I say, stepping forward. You're alone. He sneers, but Rachel's voice cuts through, steady. I recorded everything, Jasper. Her phone's live, streaming to Ethan's server. Sirens wail, Cole's tip to the cops. Jasper bolts, but Ethan's faster, tackling him. Rachel grips my arm, her eyes raw. I'm trying, Mark. I nod, but trusts a ghost. Wednesday, I'm at the office, Tessa gone, her desk empty. Cole's voice is grim. She's cooperating. Jasper's naming names. My roots are safe, clients returning, but Rachel's at a Hotel Lily with Lauren. I drive to the hotel, the Omaha skyline softening. Rachel's waiting, her scarf loose. I failed you, she starts, voice cracking. I cut her off, voice low. You chose him. Why, her eyes well. I was lost, Mark. Brent was a mistake. My chest aches, but I don't answer. I walk away, the city's lights flickering, my fight far from over. Thursday morning, Cole Ramsey's call, head of operations, reinstated, full control, lands like a lifeline, but Rachel's words echo, you didn't trust me, Mark. I'm Mark Hensley, 47, back at the Omaha logistics firm I've carried for 18 years, my $50 million roots nearly gutted by Brent Mallory, my deputy, who slept with my wife Rachel and ran a real estate scam with her money. Brent's detained Pinnacle Logistics is crumbling, and my routes are secure, but Tessa Brooks' betrayal. Jasper Klein's shadow and Rachel's guilt linger like smoke. My daughter Lily is with my sister Lauren, and trust is a ghost. This fight's not over. It's a fire I'm still stoking. I'm on site, the Omaha Air Crisp, rebuilding my client network with Cole. Mark, we're stabilizing, he says, his flannel sleeves rolled up. Clients are back, delays down 30%. My routes, $50 million in revenue, were nearly bled dry. I nod, my focus split. Rachel Cole shrugs. She's at the hotel working remotely. Rachel, who drained our savings for Brent, is a stranger now. I spot Ellen Harper across the office, the retired exec who busted Brent at the Union Club, her tablet steady. She's proven herself, but her silence on Tessa's flip gnaws at me. Keep eyes on Ellen, I mutter. Cole nods, but the air's thick, loyalty's a gamble. By noon, I'm scouring the firm's financials, hunting Jasper's tracks. Ethan Holt texts, Jasper's moving. Paid an Omaha reporter, Dana Pierce, to dig into your taxes. My pulse spikes. Taxes, Jasper's scraping for dirt, and Dana's a pen for hire. I hacked Pinnacle's server again, finding a forged invoice in my name, $2 million siphoned from client funds. Embezzlement. The frame's tightening, and Brent's emails are active even from jail. I save it, my gut churning. Brent's down, but his web's alive. That afternoon, Cole calls me to the boardroom. Ellen's there with Nora Vance, the CFO, who took Brent's bribes, now on probation. Cole's all business. Mark, Pinnacle's finished. Brent laundered millions through them. We're suing. I nod, but my eyes are on Nora. She's too calm, her pen steady. What's the catch, I ask. Cole sighs. Brent claims you faked the audit, rigged the evidence. He's out on bail and his lawyer's pushing a countersuit. The first twist hits like a snapped chain. Bail after laundering theft, the auditor bust, Ellen leans in. Mark, we need your roots locked. Take the role or we're exposed. It's a deal with teeth. I don't flinch. I'm in. My team, my contracts, no strings. Cole nods, relieved. Nora's eyes flicker, guilt or something darker. I'm not buying her redemption. As I leave, my phone pings anonymous text. Hensley, we know your daughter's school. Quit or she's next. My breath catches. Lily Jasper's hitting my family. I delete it, but the threat festers. The Omaha skyline, a silent witness through the office window. Friday, I'm briefing Lauren at her real estate office. She's in jeans, her realtor's grit unshaken. I found more, she says, handing me a USB. It's a city auditor's memo, BM Ventures dodging $10 million in taxes. My contact at the assessor's office flagged it, she adds. My sister, my rock digging for me. My chest tightens. What's your move, she asks. I lean in, voice low. Cut his cash. His offshore accounts are his lifeline. She nods, fierce. Don't lose Lily, Mark. Her words linger as I grip her shoulder, her strength, my anchor. That night, I'm chasing Brent's offshore trail. Ethan's intel points to a Cayman account layered through shell firms. I hack deeper, finding a ledger $15 million from Pinnacle to Brent, funneled via Horizon Capital. The name stops me cold. Greg Larson, Paige's husband, Rachel's brother-in-law, is Horizon's partner. The second twist burns. Greg, who coached Lily's soccer team, is bankrolling Brent's scam. I save it, my blood simmering. This isn't just Brent, it's a syndicate and my family's in it. Saturday, I confront Greg at his downtown office, door locked. Horizon's funding Pinnacle, I say, tossing the ledger on his desk. He smirks, leaning back, his tie loose. Business, Mark. You're too rigid. My fists clench, his betrayal a knife. You're selling my routes. He laughs sharp. Join Pinnacle, we'll make you rich. I step closer, voice ice. I'd rather burn it down. I walk out, his smirk a challenge, the Omaha skyline stark through his window. I send the ledger to Ellen, my resolve ironclad. Sunday, the third twist hits like a collapsing scaffold. I'm at my ranch when Cole bursts in. Mark, Rachel's gone. My heart stops. Gone, I call her, no answer. Her hotel room's empty, her phone off. Panic claws at me, but I focus. I hack Pinnacle's server, finding a new email. Hensley's wife is leverage. Secure her. My blood runs cold. Jasper has Rachel. I call Ethan. Find her. Now. He's already moving. Jasper's got a safe house, Old Mill on Maple Street. I'm with you. I grab my keys, the Charger's engine roaring, Omaha's streets a blur. Sunday night, I'm at the mill, Ethan at my side, the air thick with dust and oil. Rachel's inside, tied to a chair, Jasper looming, his gun glinting. My pulse hammers, but I stay calm. Let her go, Jasper, I say, stepping into the light. He sneers, his voice gravel. You're a loose end, Hensley. Rachel's eyes meet mine, terrified but defiant. Mark, don't, she whispers. Ethan signals cops are en route, tipped by Cole. I keep Jasper talking, my voice steady. Brent's done. Pinnacle's next. You're alone. His grip falters, doubt creeping in. Sirens wail and Ethan moves, disarming Jasper in a flash. I untie Rachel, her hands trembling in mine, the mill's shadows swallowing Jasper as cops swarm. Monday, I'm at the hospital, Rachel shaken but unharmed. I thought I could fix it, she says, voice breaking, her hand clutching mine. I went to Pinnacle to expose them. My chest aches. She risked her life, but her betrayal, $150. 000. Brent's bed cuts deeper than courage. Why didn't you tell me, I ask, voice low. Her eyes well. I didn't trust myself. I don't answer, the hospital's sterile hum filling the silence. Cole texts, Pinnacle shut down. Greg's arrested. You're clean. Victory, but it's hollow. Tuesday, I'm digging into Jasper's network. Ethan's drive has a final lead, payments to a board member, Nora Vance. The fourth twist cuts like glass. Nora, who I thought was on probation, was feeding Jasper intel. I confront her at her office, door shut. You played me, I say, tossing the evidence. She doesn't flinch, her eyes cold. I had debts, Mark. Pinnacle paid. My fists clench. You sold my life. She leans in, voice flat. Take the firm, it's yours. I walk out, her betrayal await, the Omaha skyline flickering. Wednesday, I'm at the office. Nora gone, her desk cleared. Ellen calls. Mark, you're head of operations. Firm's yours to rebuild. I nod, but my mind's on Rachel, staying with Paige. I visit the Omaha skyline, softening in the dusk. I'm sorry, I start, my voice rough. Rachel cuts me off. You fought for us, Mark. Now fight for you. We talk, jagged, raw, no promises. It's a spark, not a flame, her dark hair catching the light. Thursday, I'm rebuilding with Cole and Ellen. Clients are back routes humming, but a new email hits my inbox. Hensley, you missed the real player. No signature, but it's Victor Crane, Brent's loan shark. The fifth twist is a gut punch. Crane's been pulling strings, using Brent as a pawn. I hack his accounts, finding a ledger $20 million from horizon to pinnacle with Crane's cut. My jaw tightens. Crane's the head and he's still out there. Friday, I meet Ethan at a diner, the neon sign buzzing. Crane's untouchable, he says, handing me a drive. He's got a mole in the DA's office. My stomach drops. A mole I trust Ellen Cole, but Rachel. Her remorse feels real, but doubt gnaws. Find the mole, I say. Ethan nods grim. Crane's a vulture, Mark. He'll hit Lily next. My thoughts flash to my daughter, her laughter a lifeline. I won't let him touch her. Saturday, I'm at the office cross-referencing Crane's deals. I find a thread Crane's funding traces to a local charity, Omaha Futures, where Paige Larson volunteers. The sixth twist is a blade. Paige, Rachel's sister who covered for her, is laundering Crane's money through donations. I save the evidence, my hands shaking, the office's hum fading. This isn't just Brent, it's a network and my family's the core. Sunday, I confront Paige at her house door locked. Omaha Futures is dirty, I say, tossing the logs on her table. She pales, stammering. Mark, I cut her off. You're washing Crane's cash. Her eyes dart, but she nods, cornered. What do you need? I lean in cold. Flip on Crane, stall his deals. She agrees, sweating. I've got a mole, but it's a tightrope, Paige no ally. Monday, I'm at the firm, routes solid, clients steady. Cole bursts in. Mark, Crane's meeting Pinnacle's remnants tonight, old rail yard. My pulse kicks. A chance to end it. I call Rachel. You in, she's steady, for Lily. We roll Ethan and Cole with me, the Omaha night thick with grit. At the rail yard, Crane's there with Greg and a new player, Dana Pierce, the reporter, now Crane's mouthpiece. My blood simmers, but I stay cold, recording with Ethan's gear. Crane's laundering through charities, I whisper, streaming to Ellen's server. Rachel's eyes meet mine, fierce. We've got him. The seventh twist hits like a derailment. A flashlight blinds me. I spin, expecting Jasper, but it's Lauren, my sister, with a USB, her face pale. Mark, I found this, she whispers. It's a ledger. Ellen Harper, my mentor, took $500,000 from Crane to bury my audit. My heart stops. Ellen. The woman who saved me, Lauren, grips my arm. She played us all. Before I can process, Crane spots us. Hensley, he sneers. You're persistent. I stand, locking eyes. You're done, Crane. Rachel moves, swift, tripping Dana, who drops her phone. Cole grabs it, streaming live to X. Sirens wail, Ethan's tip to the feds. Crane bolts, but Lauren's faster, blocking him with a crowbar from her truck. Feds swarm, cuffing Crane, Greg, and Dana, the rail yard's dust swirling in the Omaha night. Tuesday, I'm at the hospital. Rachel bruised but alive. I wanted to fix us, she says, voice cracking, her hand in mine. I failed Lily. My chest aches. She fought, but her betrayal burns. We'll co-parent, I say, voice low. That's it. She nods, tears falling, the hospital's hum swallowing her sobs. Cole texts, Crane's indicted. Ellen's gone. Firm's clean. Victory, but it's bitter. Weeks later, I'm head of operations, my roots stronger, my team solid. Brent faces trial. Greg's indicted, Paige is cooperating. Rachel and I are separated, rebuilding for Lily's sake. But a text arrives. Niecewin Hensley. I'm watching. No name, but it's Jasper. My pulse spikes, but I shut my phone. Trust is a house. One crack and it's never whole again, I mutter my old creed. Did I fight too hard or not enough? Should I forgive Rachel or let her go? Rebuild love or protect Lily alone? Like what you heard, hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to Revenge Force, because the next story might just be your favorite one yet. Wife's secret affair with boss stole our savings. My revenge exposed their lies. The phone buzzed at 3 a.m., a sharp hum slicing through the silence of our Omaha bedroom. Elise wasn't in bed. Her side was cold, the sheets untouched. I squinted at the glow of her phone on the nightstand. A single notification lighting up the screen. Bobby A. You still up? My stomach twisted. Who texts a married woman at 3 a.m.? If this revenge story grips your heart, hit like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Revenge Forge for more unforgettable dramas. I'm Dylan Mercer, 42, a logistics manager at a mid-sized firm in Omaha, Nebraska. My life was solid, $140,000 a year, a 3-bedroom ranch house with a wraparound porch and a Ford F-150 parked out front. No debt, a decent 401k, and a marriage most guys envied. Elise, my wife of 7 years, was 34. A marketing coordinator with a laugh that could light up a room and a knack for turning heads. We met at a Huskers tailgate, bonded over burnt ends and country music, Alan Jackson mostly. She'd tease me about my off-key singing but still drag me to every local concert. We were that couple, matching flannel shirts, weekend hikes at Fontenelle Forest, and a shared dream of a lake cabin someday. Our mornings were a ritual. I'd brew black coffee while Elise scrolled X posting about her latest smoothie recipe or a client pitch. She'd kiss me goodbye, her perfume lingering as I headed to the office. My team at the logistics firm handled freight contracts, $80 million in annual revenue, steady growth, no drama. I wasn't a rock star, but I was dependable, the guy who got things done. My boss, Greg Hensley, leaned on me for big clients. My co-worker, Sarah Whitaker, always had my back, double-checking my reports with a grin. Life felt like a well-oiled machine. Elise and I had our quirks. I'd spend Sundays tinkering with my vintage chess set, carving new pieces from cedar when stress hit. She'd binge true crime podcasts, earbuds, and mouthing theories about cold cases. We'd argue over dumb stuff like her leaving dishes in the sink or me forgetting to mow the lawn, but it always ended with a laugh and a beer on the porch. Our biggest fight was over kids. I wanted them. She wasn't ready. "Give me a year, Dylan," she'd say, her green eyes softening. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? The first crack appeared 6 months ago. Elise started working late, her laptop glowing past midnight. "Big campaign," she'd mutter, barely looking up. Her ex-posts shifted, less smoothies, more cryptic quotes about chasing dreams. I chalked it up to stress. My own plate was full. A new client, Pacific Freight, demanded 60-hour weeks. I was distracted, sure, but not blind. Or so I thought. That 3 a.m. text wasn't the first red flag. A month earlier, I'd found a hotel receipt in her purse, $220 for a night at the Magnolia in downtown Omaha. She'd been at a team retreat that day or so, she said. When I asked, she laughed it off. Client dinner ran late, so we booked a room to crash. "You worry too much." Her smile was convincing, but her eyes darted away. I let it slide. Trust was our foundation, right? The texts kept coming. Not every night, but enough to notice. "Always late, always Bobby A." I didn't snoop. Snooping felt weak, but the name gnawed at me. Bobby Ames was her new boss, a slick 48-year-old VP who joined her firm 6 months ago. I'd met him once at a company barbecue. He had a handshake like a vice, a Rolex that screamed midlife crisis, and a laugh too loud for the room. Elise called him driven. I called him a show-off. Still, he was her boss. Late-night texts could be work, couldn't they? I started paying attention. Elise's gym bag stayed packed, but her yoga mat gathered dust. She'd leave for client meetings in heels sharper than her usual flats. Her perfume heavier. She stopped asking about my day, stopped humming Alan Jackson in the kitchen. Our talks turned to logistics, bills, groceries, schedules. I'd catch her staring at her phone, a faint smile flickering, then gone. "Just work," she'd say, locking the screen. I wanted to believe her. One night I couldn't sleep. The office was a pressure cooker. Pacific Freight's contract was behind schedule, and Greg was breathing down my neck. I wandered to the living room where Elise's laptop sat open. A Facebook notification blinked. "Bobby Ames tagged you in a post." I hesitated. I'm not the jealous type, but my gut screamed. I clicked. It was a photo from a team outing at a rooftop bar. Elise, in a red dress I'd never seen, leaned into Bobby, his arm around her waist. The caption read, "Work hard, play harder." Comments poured in, co-workers joking, emojis flying. One stood out. "Looking cozy, Elise." My chest tightened. I closed the laptop. The next morning I asked her about the photo. "Just a work thing," she said, stirring her coffee. "Bobby's big on team bonding. You should come next time." Her tone was light, but her fingers gripped the mug too tight. I nodded, swallowing the doubt. "Maybe I will." She changed the subject, asking about my chess carving. I let it go, but the seed was planted. Work became my escape. The office was chaos. Pacific Freight's demands meant late nights, and Sarah noticed my edge. "You okay, Dylan?" she asked one evening, handing me a coffee. Sarah was 30 sharp, with a no-nonsense vibe and a knack for reading people. I shrugged. "Just tired." She didn't push, but her eyes lingered. I wondered if she knew something. Her desk was near the break room where gossip flowed like the cheap coffee. A week later, the dam broke. I was at the office finalizing a shipment report when my phone pinged. A text from an unknown number. "Check Elise's ex. You deserve to know." My pulse spiked. I opened X, scrolled to her profile. Her latest post was a selfie at a waterfront, captioned, "Finding my spark again." The location tag, Kansas City, 180 miles away. She told me she was at a local client pitch that day. I clicked the photo's comments. A user, Bames VP, wrote, "Spark looks good on you." My blood ran cold. Bobby Ames. I called her. No answer. Texted, "Where are you?" Nothing. I sat there, the office humming around me, my world tilting. Sarah walked by, saw my face. "Dylan, what's wrong?" I showed her the post. She frowned, hesitated, then said, "I heard Bobby's team was in KC for a conference. Didn't know Elise was there." Her voice was careful, like she was holding back. I didn't press. I needed answers, not pity. That night I waited. Elise came home at 11 p.m. Her hair damp like she'd showered. Long day, she said, avoiding my eyes. Client pitch ran over. I didn't buy it. Kansas City's a long drive for a pitch, I said, my voice flat. Her face froze. What? I showed her the X post. She laughed too sharp. That's old Dylan. I reposted it for fun. The tag said otherwise posted 6 hours ago. I pointed it out. She snapped. Why are you digging? Don't you trust me? Her defensiveness hit like a slap. I didn't answer. She stormed upstairs. I couldn't sleep. The chess set on my desk mocked me. Knights half-carved a king unfinished. I poured a whiskey, stared at the rain streaking the windows. Elise's lie was a splinter in my mind. Who was Bobby to her? Why Kansas City? And who sent that text? I needed proof, not guesses. The next day I started digging. My first stop was Elise's coworker, Jenna Caldwell, a chatty 28-year-old who'd been at the barbecue. I called her casual, asking about the KC trip. Oh yeah, Bobby took a few of us, she said, then paused. Elise was there, but it wasn't all work. Her voice dropped. Look, Dylan, I don't want drama. She hung up. My jaw clenched. Not all work. What did that mean? I checked Elise's laptop again, this time her email. I'm not proud of it, but doubt eats you alive. Her password was still our wedding date, ironic. Most emails were work, but one caught my eye. A confirmation for a rental car in Kansas City booked under Bobby's name with Elise listed as an additional driver. Dated yesterday. My hand shook. She wasn't just lying, she was covering tracks. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. I remembered Sarah's hesitation at the office. She knew something. I'd ask her tomorrow discreetly. If Bobby was crossing lines, someone at her firm had to have seen it. I also thought about my sister Claire Mercer, 38, a realtor with a nose for secrets. She'd always been skeptical of Elise's perfect vibe. Maybe she could help. As I sat in the dark, the rain louder now, my phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. She's not who you think. Ask about the bank. The bank. Our joint savings. Investments. My mind raced. What was Elise hiding? And who was watching close enough to know? The house felt too quiet, the air heavy. I looked at our wedding photo on the mantel, Elise smiling, me clueless. The man in that frame trusted her. The man sitting here didn't. Tomorrow I'd start unraveling her lies. But tonight I just sat, the whiskey burning my throat, wondering how deep this betrayal ran. The rain hadn't stopped by morning, a gray curtain over Omaha that matched the haze in my head. I stood in the kitchen, coffee cold in my mug, staring at the spot where Elise usually sat. Her chair was empty, her gym bag gone. She'd left at dawn, mumbling about an early meeting. I didn't ask where. My phone burned a hole in my pocket, that anonymous text still unanswered. Ask about the bank. I wasn't ready to call the bank yet. I needed something solid, something that wasn't just a gut punch in the dark. I drove to the office, the city a blur of wet asphalt and brake lights. My logistics firm was a squat brick building off Dodge Street, its parking lot half full. Inside, the hum of printers and coffee machine chatter felt like a lifeline. I needed normalcy, even if it was a lie. Sarah Whitaker was at her desk, her auburn hair, pulled back eyes flicking over a spreadsheet. She glanced up as I passed, her usual grin absent. You look like hell, Dylan, she said, voice low. Rough night, I muttered, dropping my bag. I wanted to ask her about Elise's Kansas City trip, about Bobby Ames, but the break room was too close, ears always listening. I waited until lunch when the office thinned out. Sarah was in the copy room sorting reports. I closed the door. You heard anything about Elise's team? I asked, keeping it casual. She froze, a stack of papers slipping in her hands. Like what? Her tone was guarded, but her eyes betrayed her. She knew something. Kansas City. Bobby Ames. Anything. I leaned against the copier, arms crossed. My voice stayed even, but my pulse wasn't. Sarah sighed, setting the papers down. Dylan, I don't want to stir things up, but yeah, I heard stuff. Bobby's been taking Elise to a lot of client meetings. People talk. She hesitated, then added, last week someone saw them at a bar in KC. Not exactly professional. My jaw tightened. Who saw them? Jenna mentioned it. She didn't want to tell you, but it's been going around. Sarah's voice softened. I'm sorry, Dylan. I figured you'd hear eventually. I nodded, the room too small, the air too thick. Thanks for being straight. I left before she could say more. Jenna's name again. She dodged me on the phone, but I wasn't letting her off easy now. I needed her to spill no filter. Back at my desk, I pulled up Elise's firm's website. Jenna Caldwell's bio stared back. Marketing associate, passionate about branding and bold ideas. Her LinkedIn was public, full of posts about team retreats and game-changing campaigns. I sent her a message. Need to talk about KC. Coffee today. She replied within minutes. Busy all day, sorry. Maybe next week? Bullshit. She was dodging me. I'd have to corner her in person. The day dragged Pacific Freight's contract looming like a storm cloud. Greg Hensley, my boss, dropped by his tie-loose stress lines deep. Mercer, we need that shipment schedule locked by Friday. No excuses. I nodded, but my mind was elsewhere. I couldn't focus, not with Elise's lies choking me. I left early claiming a headache. Greg didn't argue, he knew I'd deliver. I drove to Elise's office, a sleek glass building in West Omaha. Jenna's car, a blue Honda Civic, was in the lot. I parked and waited. At 5:30, she emerged, her blonde ponytail bouncing as she typed on her phone. I stepped out. Jenna. She jumped eyes wide. Dylan, what are you doing here? We need to talk, now. My voice was calm, but it wasn't a request. She glanced around, nervous. Okay, fine. There's a Starbucks across the street. Inside, the smell of burnt espresso hit me. We sat in a corner away from the baristas. Jenna fidgeted with her cup. Look, I don't want trouble, she started. Then tell me about Kansas City, I said, leaning forward. No games. She exhaled long and shaky. It wasn't a conference. Bobby booked a suite at the Lowe's Hotel. Said it was for team bonding. Just him, Elise, and a couple others. But I saw them in the lobby, Dylan. They were close. Too close. Her voice dropped. She had her hand on his arm, laughing like they were a couple. My chest burned, but I kept my face stone. Anything else? Jenna bit her lip. There's a rumor Bobby's pushing for a big promotion. Elise is his right hand. People say she's helping him in ways that aren't just work. She looked away. I shouldn't be telling you this. You did the right thing, I said, standing. Thanks. I left her there, her coffee untouched. My truck felt like a cage as I drove home. Elise and Bobby asleep, her hand on his arm. The pieces were falling into place, and I hated the picture they formed. Elise wasn't home when I got there. Her absence was loud, the house too still. I poured another whiskey, my third in 2 days. My chess set sat on the dining table. A knight half carved, its edges rough. I gripped the carving knife, then set it down. No use ruining good cedar over her lies. Instead, I called my sister Claire. She picked up on the second ring. Dylan, you sound like crap, she said, her realtor cheer replaced by concern. What's going on? I told her everything, the text, the ex post, the rental car, Jenna's story. Claire listened, her silence heavy. When I finished, she said I never trusted Elise. Too perfect, too polished. You need to check your accounts, Dylan. Joint savings, investments, everything. If she's sneaking around, she might be moving money. The anonymous text flashed in my mind. Ask about the bank. You think she'd do that? I asked. I think people show you who they are when the mask slips, Claire said. Check the bank. Tonight. I hung up and logged into our joint account online. My heart sank. Our savings, $62,000 built over years for that lake cabin, showed a withdrawal of $10,000 dated 3 days ago. No explanation, just a transfer to an account I didn't recognize. I checked our investment portfolio. Another $5,000 was gone, liquidated without my signature. My hands shook as I dialed the bank. The after-hours rep confirmed the transfers but couldn't share details without both account holders. Elise had done this. Alone. I sat back, the room spinning. 15 grand vanished. Was she funding her fling with Bobby? Or something worse? I needed to know where that money went. I texted Claire. You were right. Money's gone. She replied instantly. Come to my place tomorrow. We'll figure this out. The front door clicked open. Elise walked in, her hair swept up, a new scarf around her neck. You're home early, she said, surprised. Everything okay? I studied her, searching for the woman I married. Long day, I said, mirroring her excuse. How was your meeting? Fine, she said, too quick. She set her bag down, avoiding my gaze. I'm exhausted. Gonna shower. She headed upstairs, her phone clutched tight. I waited until the water ran, then grabbed her bag. Inside, a folded receipt. Dinner for two at a Kansas City steakhouse, $180 paid with her card. My card. Our card. I put it back, my mind racing. I needed more than receipts and rumors. I needed proof that would hold up something undeniable. Sarah's words echoed. People talk. If Bobby was using Elise to climb the corporate ladder, someone at her firm knew more. I thought of Mark Hensley, Greg's cousin, who worked in HR at Elise's company. He owed me a favor after I helped him move last summer. I'd call him tomorrow. Sleep didn't come. I lay on the couch, the TV flickering on mute. My phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Another text from the unknown number. She's meeting him tomorrow. Downtown, 7 p.m. No details, just that. I didn't reply. Whoever this was, they were close, too close. A coworker, a friend, or someone with their own axe to grind. I didn't care. If Elise was meeting Bobby, I'd be there. The next day, I called Mark Hensley. He sounded distracted, but agreed to meet for a beer after work. I spent the day at the office, half-focused, dodging Greg's questions about Pacific Freight. Sarah caught me in the hallway. You talked to Jenna? She asked, voice low. Yeah, I said. She confirmed it. Sarah nodded, her face grim. There's more, Dylan. I didn't want to say before, but Bobby's got a reputation. Not just with Elise. He's been cozy with other women at the firm. Higher-ups look the other way because he brings in clients. She paused. Be careful. He's not someone you cross lightly. I thanked her and left for the bar. Mark was already there nursing a Coors Light. He was 45, balding with a tired smile. What's this about Mercer? He asked as I sat down. Elise, Bobby Ames. I need to know what's going on at your firm. Mark's face tightened. That's a messy topic, Dylan. Bobby's a big dog. Brings in millions. But yeah, he's involved with Elise. It's not a secret in the office. They've been seen together outside work, hotels, dinners. He leaned closer. Word is Bobby's gunning for a C-suite spot. Elise is his ticket, her campaigns are gold. But it's not just business. You know that? I gripped my beer, the glass cold against my palm. Anything else? Mark hesitated. There's talk of a side deal. Bobby's got investors off the book stuff. Elise might be in on it. That's all I know. He looked uneasy. Don't quote me, Dylan. I could lose my job. I nodded, my mind spinning. A side deal. Was that where our money went? I thanked Mark and left the evening air sharp. It was 6:30 p.m. The anonymous text said 7 p.m. downtown. I drove to the old market, Omaha's cobblestone heart packed with bars and boutiques. I parked near a bistro, its windows glowing. At 7:02 I saw them. Elise and Bobby at a corner table, wine glasses glinting. She laughed, her hand brushing his. He leaned in his Rolex, catching the light. My chest burned, but I stayed in the truck snapping photos with my phone. Proof finally, but it wasn't enough. I needed to know about the money, the deal, everything. I tailed them when they left, keeping my distance. They walked to a hotel, the Kimpton Cottonwood, its neon sign mocking me. They didn't go in, just stood outside, talking close, her scarf slipping. Bobby handed her an envelope, thick, unmarked. She tucked it into her purse, kissed his cheek, and walked away. He watched her go, then made a call, his face hard. I followed Elise, my truck blending into traffic. She drove to a coffee shop, met a man I didn't recognize, mid-30s, glasses, nervous. She passed him the envelope. He handed her a USB drive. My camera caught it all. What was she trading? Company secrets. Our savings. I didn't know, but I was closing in. Back home, Elise was already in bed, her phone off. I didn't sleep. I uploaded the photos to my laptop, backed them up. The USB drive gnawed at me. Was it evidence of Mark's side deal? I needed to get into her laptop again, but she'd changed the password. I'd have to be smarter. The next morning, I called Claire. She met me at her realty office, her desk piled with contracts. You look worse than yesterday, she said, handing me a water. I showed her the photos, told her about the envelope, the USB. Her eyes narrowed. This isn't just an affair, Dylan. That money, the deal, it's bigger. You need a plan. I'm working on it, I said. But I need help. Can you dig into Bobby Ames? His deal's his past. Claire nodded. I know a guy, ex-cop turned PI. He owes me. I'll get him on it. She paused. What about Elise? You gonna confront her? Not yet, I said. I need everything first. No mistakes. Claire squeezed my arm. You're tougher than I thought, big brother. I left my mind a storm. Sarah's warning about Bobby replayed. He's not someone you cross lightly. But I wasn't backing down. I called the bank again, this time during hours. The rep confirmed the $15,000 was transferred to a corporate account name withheld. I pushed citing fraud. They promised to investigate but needed Elise's consent. Fat chance. At the office, Sarah pulled me aside. I overheard Greg talking to someone from Elise's firm. They mentioned Bobby in a special project. Sounded shady. Thought you should know. I thanked her, my suspicions growing. Was Greg involved? No, he was too straight-laced. But the connection was there. That night, Elise was home cooking pasta like nothing was wrong. We should talk, I said, testing her. She stiffened, then smiled. About what? Us. Work. You've been distant. I kept my voice steady, watching her. She sighed, tossing her hair. I'm swamped, Dylan. Bobby's got me on a huge campaign. It's stressful, okay. Her eyes were soft, but her hands shook. Lies. I nodded, letting it drop. I wasn't ready to show my cards. But the USB, the envelope, the money, they were threads I'd pull until her world unraveled. The anonymous texter pinged again. She's meeting him again. Friday. Same place. I didn't reply. I'd be there, camera ready. Friday came fast. I told Elise I was working late, left the house early. The old market was alive, couples laughing, street musicians strumming. I parked, waited. At 7 p.m. Elise arrived, Bobby at her side. This time, they went inside the bistro. I followed, hood up, blending with the crowd. They sat upstairs private, their heads close. I couldn't hear them, but I saw her pass him a folder. He slid her a key, hotel key, car key, I couldn't tell. My camera caught it. Then a twist. Sarah walked in. Not with them, but at the bar alone, her eyes on their table. What the hell? Was she the texter? Or playing her own game? I stayed low, my mind racing. Elise and Bobby left arm in arm. Sarah didn't follow. I did. They drove to the Kimpton again. No envelope this time, just a long kiss in the parking lot. My lens caught every second. I wanted to storm over end it right there, but I held back. This wasn't just about her betrayal. The money, the deal, Sarah's presence, it was a puzzle and I was missing pieces. I went home, Elise still out. Claire texted. PI found dirt on Bobby. Call me. I dialed her. He's got a history, she said. Embezzlement charge dropped 10 years ago. Shady investors now. Your money might be tied to his deal. Elise is deep in this, Dylan. I hung up, the weight crushing me. Elise wasn't just cheating, she was part of something dirty. And Sarah. I didn't know her angle. Tomorrow I'd confront her. Then Elise. The forge was heating and I was ready to hammer the truth. The Omaha skyline was a jagged silhouette against the dawn, its lights flickering like the last embers of my trust. I hadn't slept, not really. The photos of Elise and Bobby, the hotel key, the USB drive, they burned in my mind, a forge of rage and clarity. Sarah's presence at the bistro last night was a splinter I couldn't ignore. Was she the one texting me, or was she playing a deeper game? I needed answers, and I needed them today. I stood in the kitchen carving a chess pawn, the cedar yielding under my knife. Each scrape was a release, a way to keep my hands steady while my head spun. Elise was still asleep, her phone charging on the nightstand. I'd checked it at 4 a.m. No new text from Bobby, but a locked app labeled Notes I Couldn't Crack. She'd gotten smarter, or maybe she'd always been this careful. My first move was Sarah. I got to the office early, the logistics firm quiet, except for the hum of the HVAC. Sarah was at her desk sipping coffee, her eyes flicking to me as I approached. We need to talk, I said, voice low. Outside. She nodded, grabbing her jacket. We walked to the parking lot, the morning air sharp with frost. What were you doing at the bistro last night? I asked, cutting to it. Her face paled, but she didn't flinch. I knew you'd see me, she said. I was following Bobby, not Elise. He's bad news, Dylan, and not just for you. You're the one texting me, I said, not a question. She hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, I didn't want to get involved, but I couldn't let you stay in the dark. She glanced around like the empty lot might have ears. Bobby's running a scam. Off the books deals, fake invoices, skimming client funds. Elise is helping him, or he's using her. I'm not sure which. My gut twisted. How do you know this? I dated a guy in their IT department last year, she said. He found files, encrypted transfer shell accounts. Bobby's name was all over them. When I saw him with Elise, I started digging. I'm sorry, Dylan. I should have told you sooner. Why didn't you? My voice was harder than I meant. She looked away. I was scared. Bobby's connected. People who cross him get fired or worse. But I saw you falling apart. I had to do something. I believed her mostly. Sarah wasn't the type to lie, but she'd held back before. What about the USB, the envelope? No clue, she said. But I bet it's tied to his deal. Elise has been logging into secure servers after hours. It flagged it, but Bobby shut it down. I nodded, my mind racing. Keep this between us, and watch your back. You too, she said, her eyes serious. He's not just a player, Dylan. He's dangerous. I drove to Claire's office, next the city waking up around me. Her realtor sign swung in the wind, a cheerful contrast to the storm inside me. She was on the phone but waved me in her desk, cluttered with property listings. When she hung up, I showed her the bistro photos and told her about Sarah's bombshell. Claire whistled low. This is bigger than an affair. My PI sent more on Bobby. He's got ties to a shady investment group in Kansas City. They fund startups, but it's a front money laundering mostly. That $15,000 from your account, it went to one of their shells. My blood ran cold. Elise knew. Looks like it, Claire said. The PI traced her email to a meeting with one of their reps. She's not just cheating, Dylan. She's in deep. I gripped the chair, knuckles white. What now? We expose them, she said, fierce. But you need hard proof. That USB, the folder, get them. And talk to Mark Hensley again. If Bobby's deal is bleeding into your firm, Mark might know more. I agreed, but my next stop was the bank. I met a manager, a stern woman named Linda Carter, who reviewed the account. The transfers were authorized by your wife, she said, peering over her glasses. But the receiving account is flagged for suspicious activity. We've frozen further withdrawals pending investigation. Can you trace it? I asked. Not without a court order, she said. But I can tell you it's linked to a Kansas City entity. That's all I've got. It was enough. Kansas City, Bobby, the shell company, everything pointed to the same rotten core. I thanked her and left my resolve hardening. I'd confront Elise tonight, but first I needed Mark. I found him at a dive bar near his office, the kind with sticky floors and neon signs. He was on his second whiskey, eyes bloodshot. You're gonna get me fired, Mercer, he said as I sat down. Then talk fast, I said. Bobby's deal. What is it? Mark rubbed his face. It's a scam, okay? He's inflating client budgets, funneling the extra to offshore accounts. Elise builds the campaigns, makes them look legit. They're raking in millions, but it's dirty. I overheard him bragging about a big payout soon. Why's Elise doing this? I asked, my voice tight. Mark shrugged. Money power, maybe both. Bobby's got a way of pulling people in, but she's not innocent, Dylan. She's all in. I left my head pounding. My Elise wasn't just cheating, she was a criminal. The woman who sang Alan Jackson off-key, who dreamed of a lake cabin, was gone. Or maybe she'd never existed. I got home before Elise, her absence a gnawing void. I checked her laptop again. Guessing passwords, our anniversary, her birthday, nothing worked. Then I tried Bobby Ames. It unlocked. My heart sank. Her email was a goldmine. Messages to Bobby about the project, a timeline for a final transfer, and a draft contract with a Kansas City firm, Nexus Ventures. The same shell Claire's PI flagged. One email stopped me cold. From Bobby, dated last week. Keep Dylan in the dark. If he digs, we're done. My hands shook. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a calculated gutting of my life. I copied the emails to a USB, backed them up on my cloud. Proof, but not enough. I needed that folder, the USB drive she'd traded. Elise came home at 8 p.m. Her scarf new, her smile forced. Hey, she said, setting her bag down. You're quiet tonight. Long day, I said, my voice a blade. How's Bobby? Her eyes flickered, but she laughed. Same old, driving us crazy with deadlines. She moved to the kitchen, pouring wine. Want some? I stood, closing the distance. I know about Kansas City. The hotel, the bar, the deal. I know about Nexus Ventures. Her glass froze halfway to her lips. What are you talking about? Don't, I said, my voice low, cold. I saw you with him. The envelope, the USB. I know about the $15,000. You're not just cheating, Elise. You're stealing. Her face crumpled, but only for a second. Then it hardened. You're spying on me. That's low, Dylan. Lower than lying to my face. I stepped closer. Who's the guy at the coffee shop? What's on the USB? She backed up, her hands shaking. You don't understand. It's not what you think. Then explain, I said. Now. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Tears welled, but I didn't buy them. I can't, she whispered. Not yet. Then we're done, I said, turning away. Pack your stuff. She grabbed my arm. Dylan, please. I love you. I got in over my head, but I can fix this. I shook her off. You fix nothing. Get out. She didn't move, just stood there crying. I walked to the garage, my chest set calling me. I carved until my hands ached, the pawn taking shape, sharp and unyielding. Elise stayed upstairs. I didn't care. The next morning, I called Claire. She met me at a diner, her PI's report in hand. Bobby's deal is collapsing, she said. Nexus Ventures is under federal scrutiny. Your $15,000 is pocket change. They're moving millions. Elise is a small player, but she's complicit. What about the USB? I asked. Could be anything, Claire said. Client data, account codes, proof of the scam. If you get it, you've got them. I nodded, my plan forming. I'd tail Elise again, get that USB. But first, I needed to know Sarah's endgame. I drove to the office, found her in the break room. You knew about Nexus, I said, no preamble. She nodded, guilty. I didn't want to scare you. My ex in IT, he's the one who tipped me off. He's got copies of Bobby's files. I can get them, but it's risky. Do it, I said. I'm done playing nice. That night, I followed Elise again. She met Bobby at a different bar, quieter in Midtown. I stayed outside, camera ready. They argued, her voice sharp through the open window. You said it was safe, she hissed. Now the feds are sniffing around. Bobby grabbed her wrist. Keep your voice down. We're fine if you don't crack. She yanked free, stormed out. I followed her to our house, where she grabbed a suitcase and left. I didn't stop her. My phone buzzed. Sarah, got the files. Meet me tomorrow, 8 a.m. my place. Sarah's apartment was a small walk-up near UNO. She handed me a USB, her hands shaking. This is everything. Transfers, emails, Nexus contracts. Bobby's done if this gets out. I took it, my resolve steel. Why risk this for me? She looked away. Because I've been where you are. Betrayed. It hurts. You don't deserve it. I thanked her and left the USB heavy in my pocket. At home, I plugged it in. The files were damning. Bobby's scam laid bare Elise's name on every major deal. One file shocked me, a recorded call between Bobby and a Nexus rep discussing a loose end. Me. If Dylan talks, we bury him, Bobby said. My blood ran cold. The next twist hit like a freight train. Claire called frantic. The PI found something else. Bobby's not just a crook. He's got a past with your firm. He worked there years ago under a different name. Greg fired him for fraud. That's why he's targeting you. My mind reeled. Bobby knew me. I dug through old company records, found a Robert Allen fired in 2008 for embezzlement. Same age, same build. Bobby Ames was a ghost, a grudge wearing a Rolex. He wasn't just using a lease. He was settling a score with me, with Greg, with the firm. I had enough. I contacted a lawyer, a friend of Claire's named Tom Wheeler. He reviewed the files, his face grim. This is federal-level fraud. You've got enough to sink them, but it's a bomb. Once it's out, Elise goes down too. I didn't hesitate. Do it. Tom filed a report with the FBI anonymously using the USB files. I sent copies to Elise's firm's CEO marked urgent. The fallout was swift. By Monday, Bobby was suspended, his office sealed. Elise was called in, her face pale, on the newsfeed I caught on X. Nexus Ventures collapsed, its execs indicted. Elise came home that night, her suitcase still packed. You did this, she said, voice breaking. You ruined everything. You ruined us, I said, calm. You chose him, you chose the money. Live with it. She cried, begged, said she'd been manipulated, that Bobby promised her a future. I didn't listen. I handed her divorce papers already drafted. Sign them. We're done. She signed, tears smearing the ink. She left her scarf trailing like a ghost. I didn't watch her go. The final twist came a week later. Sarah confessed she'd been the one who sent the first anonymous text, but not the others. Those came from Greg, who'd suspected Bobby's return and wanted me to dig without tipping his hand. He apologized, offered me a promotion. I took it, but I wasn't celebrating. I moved on, or tried to. The house felt too big, the chess set too quiet. I carved a new king, its crown sharp unbroken. Omaha's streets carried on the rain, finally gone. I won, but at what cost? Was I right to burn it all down? Trust is a house one crack and it's never whole again. Like what you heard. Hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Revenge Forge, because the next story might just be your favorite one yet.